Chapter 120. Long Yu's interest was piqued when he heard that someone was sparring. The bamboo forest at the back of the mountain was where the disciples and elders of the Jintian clan lived and cultivated. However, there were not many disciples of the Jintian clan who had entered the true spirit realm. In other words, it was highly likely that the person sparring was an elder of the Jintian clan. Among the 13 elders of the Jintian clan, Wu Jianxin's cultivation had been destroyed, and he was expelled from the clan. The remaining 12 elders were all at least at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. Walking could be said to be the weakest person here. After entering the true spirit realm, Long Yu could finally come into contact with the most powerful and core members of the Jintian clan. Phantom Valley Wings. Long Yu activated the battle weapon with his Xian Qi, and the Ghost Valley Wings immediately transformed into a pair of white wings that were 10 feet long. They connected to Long Yu's back, causing his entire body to become extremely light. Go! Long Yu's figure floated in the air. Under the flapping of the Ghost Valley Wings, his entire body was like a beam of light that pierced through the bamboo forest. His speed was several times faster than when he used the Wind Flash Step and the Blizzard Combat Boots. In the blink of an eye, Long Yu arrived at the place where people were sparring in the bamboo forest. After that, he retracted the Phantom Valley Wings and stood still in the bamboo forest. He looked at the empty space in the middle of the field and saw that there were many people gathered there. In the middle of the field, there was a middle-aged man in a white robe and a noble lady in a black dress. They were sparring with each other. Long Yu had seen these two people in the Elder Cabinet before. They were both elders of the Jintian clan's Elder Cabinet. Haha, Junior Brother Long, I didn't expect to see you here. A bold and unrestrained laughter rang out. Accompanied by a figure dressed in black tight-fitting clothes appeared beside Long Yu. Long Yu turned his head and saw that it was walking. Senior Brother Boo, you're here too? Long Yu was a little surprised, but this made him feel a lot more at ease. At least there was someone he knew here. Otherwise, it would be really awkward. Yes, Elder Yu and Elder Yin are exchanging pointers here. The two seniors have already condensed their true spirits into physical bodies. Their battle has benefited me greatly. Walkman laughed. The white-clothed middle-aged man was called Yu Shengshi, and the noble lady in the black dress was Yin Huanmo. Both of them were experts at the 4th level of the true spirit realm. At this moment, Long Yu had clearly arrived a little too late. That was because the two of them seemed to have finished sparring. Junior sister, Yin, is getting more and more powerful. I, Yu Shengshi, am ashamed of my inferiority. Huh? The white-robed middle-aged man smiled warmly and sheathed his sword. Let's go. Yin Huanma turned around and left, appearing rather indifferent. But before she left, she glanced at Long Yu, seemingly surprised by Long Yu's appearance. New faces, Yin Huanma thought to herself, and then disappeared from everyone's sight. Long Yu couldn't help but admire Yin Huanma's noble back view as he watched Yin Huanma's black dress disappear. Yin Huanma looked to be at most 25 or 26 years old, but his martial Dao realm was extremely terrifying. It seemed that there were many talented people in the Jintian clan, but it was impossible to meet them without reaching this level. Yin Huanma left, but Yu Shengshi came to Long Yu's side with a smile. Little brother Long Yu, I originally thought that you would have to wait until the martial arts competition of the 7 sects to enter the true spirit realm and meet us at the back mountain. I didn't expect you to come so soon. Yu Shengshi looked up and down at Long Yu with a gratified smile. Elder Yu, I rely on the sex training. Long Yu said politely. Training my ass. Who doesn't rely on themselves to achieve anything in martial Dao? Yu Shengshi laughed and patted Long Yu's shoulder. The sect is at most a relatively stable cultivation environment. But in such an environment, you still have to rely on yourself if you want to achieve anything. Long Yu was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that Yu Shengshi, a handsome middle-aged man with an elegant demeanor, would actually curse. Training my ass. This elder Yu Shengshi did not rigidly adhere to the conventional conventions, causing Long Yu to have a deep impression of him. It was a pity that he couldn't see the sparring between Yu Shengshi and Yin Huanma. All right, if you continue to cultivate here, You'll be able to see the sparring between the elders at any time. Yu Shangshi smiled. Since you're here, let's find a bamboo house to rest first. For cultivators, everything is simple. As for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, someone will send them over. Okay. Long Yu nodded his head and left with Yu Shangshi. The other elders also dispersed. But today, the elders had a new topic to talk about, which was the addition of a new face in the bamboo forest, Long Yu. Long Yu had only joined the Jintian clan for a few months, but had already entered the true spirit realm at the speed of a rocket, attracting the attention of many elders. After finding a simple bamboo house, Long Yu began to rest. The furnishings in the house were very simple. There was a bamboo bed, a bamboo table, and a bamboo chair. Apart from that, there was nothing else. Dinner was also very simple, which was sent over by the enforcement elder. In the eyes of ordinary disciples, the enforcement elder was an existence that couldn't be disobeyed. But in the eyes of the true spirit realm's core disciples and the elder cabinet's elders, he was nothing. After dinner, the moonlight fell. Everyone in the bamboo forest stayed in their bamboo houses. They were either resting or cultivating. The entire bamboo forest was silent. At night, the temperature plummeted. If it was an ordinary person in the bamboo forest, they would definitely freeze into a block. But for the experts in the true spirit realm, this low temperature that could instantly freeze a drop of water into ice did not affect them at all. The first skill of the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist is Drunken Yellow Springs. It is a mortal level top grade martial skill. I have cultivated this skill to its peak and can condense the 9 Abyss explosion to kill my enemies. The second skill that can only be cultivated in the true spirit realm is called Reincarnation Awakening. This skill is similar to the Drunken Yellow Springs, but it can simulate the path of reincarnation and send the opponent into the cycle of reincarnation. Simulating the path of reincarnation and sending the opponent into the cycle of reincarnation was the explanation given by the 9 Abyss Dragon Seal. But as for its specific effects, Long Yu did not know. Maybe I should find someone to spar with. Of course, everything has to wait until I have mastered Reincarnation Awakening first. As Long Yu thought about it, he began to circulate the Xian Qi in his body along the path of Reincarnation Awakening according to the memories of the 9 Abyss Dragon Seal. As soon as the Xian Qi started to circulate, Long Yu felt an extremely strange power that seemed to want to jump out of his body. Is this the power of simulating the path of reincarnation? What will happen to the opponent after sending them into the cycle of reincarnation? Long Yu suppressed his curiosity and continued to circulate his Xian Qi. Now is not the time to be curious. Once he reached the beginner level of this skill, he could find someone to spar with and test it out. However, Long Yu had underestimated the difficulty of cultivating this skill. This was a spirit level top grade martial skill. One had to know that the entire Jintian clan did not have a martial skill of this level. In fact, there were not many spirit level top grade martial skills in the entire Great Tang Empire. The power and difficulty of cultivating this skill could be imagined. Long Yu cultivated for the entire night and only stopped the next morning when the person who delivered breakfast knocked on his door. "Come in," Long Yu said casually. As soon as he said that, the door of the bamboo house was suddenly pushed open, and then a delicate figure in a blue shirt appeared in front of Long Yu. Liao Lele. Long Yu was stunned. This lass, why did she come here? Liao Lele leaned against the door and curled her lips. What's wrong? Are you unhappy to see me? That's not it. But what are you doing here? Long Yu was a little puzzled. Didn't they say that disciples who had not condensed the true spirit were not allowed to enter this bamboo forest? Could it be that Elder Bai gave special permission? I'm here to bring you food. Can I? Liao Lele giggled. By the way, my master asked me to give you this. Take it. After saying that, she brought a large plate of soup dumplings with a small porcelain bottle on the plate, which seemed to contain some kind of elixir. What's this? Long Yu pointed at the small porcelain bottle, a little puzzled. Why don't you open it and see? Liao Lele put the plate on the bamboo table, turned around, and waved her hand. I'll leave first. I'll come back at noon. Again? Long Yu was startled. From now on, I'll be the one to bring you 3 meals a day. You should be mentally prepared." Liao Lele smiled proudly, then closed the door of the bamboo house and skipped away. Long Yu was a little puzzled. The reason why he chose to cultivate here was because he wanted to stay as far away from this girl as possible. But he didn't expect that this girl would chase him here. However, he didn't know that Liao Lele's pair of bright eyes dimmed as soon as she turned around. How could she not feel that Long Yu came to this bamboo forest to alienate her? At this moment, she didn't have any other thoughts. She just wanted to be closer to Long Yu, closer and closer inside the simple bamboo house. Long Yu looked at the big plate of soup dumplings and the small porcelain bottle. He took the small porcelain bottle in his hand and opened the lid. Instantly, a strong and fragrant smell of medicine filled his nose. It's a spiritual level pill. Long Yu's expression changed instantly. He had guessed that there would be a pill in the small porcelain bottle, but he didn't expect it to be a spiritual level pill. Elderbai was an alchemist. A spiritual level pill was equivalent to a spiritual level combat weapon. It was imaginable that the entire Jintian clan didn't have many of them. It's a spiritual level upper pill. Long Yu poured out the pill from the small porcelain bottle onto his palm, feeling the rich spiritual energy coming from it. His face was filled with hesitation. A spiritual level upper pill was priceless. It could even be exchanged for a spiritual level upper weapon, such as a powerful white feather gown. It would naturally have a strong effect on the improvement of a cultivator's realm. However, was such a precious pill really given to him by Elderbai? Or did Liao Lele beg Elderbai for it? Long Yu had no idea. Chapter 121. After some consideration, Long Yu decided to consume the spiritual high-grade elixir. In his heart, he had a new bond with the Jintian clan, Old Bai, and Liao Lele. Thinking of this, Long Yu took out another small porcelain bottle from his bosom. The essence condensing pill can increase the success rate of condensing the true spirit by 10%. It is a mortal high-grade elixir. Long Yu looked at the small porcelain bottle, which contained a mortal high-grade elixir that he had received from the White Cloud Trail for protecting Yushuayan. When he was condensing the Sun True Spirit, he felt that he had a high chance of success, so he did not consume the essence condensing pill. I'll give this essence condensing pill to Liao Lele the next time she comes. Long Yu made up his mind and swallowed the spiritual high-grade elixir, the essence snow elixir. The essence snow elixir was made from the blood essence of the snow demon beast in the north and mixed with many precious herbs. After consuming it, the blood essence of the snow demon beast would be completely converted into heaven and earth spiritual chi and mixed with various herbs, allowing the elixir's effects to be maximized. Of course, how much a martial cultivator could absorb depended on their talent. For example, if Long Yu did not have the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, he could only absorb 30% of the elixir's effects. But with the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, he could absorb all the effects of 1 essence snow elixir, which was equivalent to consuming 3 different spiritual high-grade elixirs. The 9 Underworld Dragon Seal was terrifying. The effects of the essence snow elixir turned into pure heaven and earth spiritual chi and quickly spread to Long Yu's meridians. A large portion of it was absorbed and stored by the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal. Even with the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, it was impossible for Long Yu to reach level 2 of the true spirit realm. Therefore, it was better to absorb a small portion first and store more of the elixir, so that when he obtained more elixirs in the future, he could break through at once. The limit of level 1 of the true spirit realm is the strength of 1,200 horses. Now that I've reached it, I won't be able to break through if I don't break through to level 2 of the true spirit realm. After a long time, Long Yu had finally absorbed 30% of the snow essence pill's medicinal power, reaching the limit of the first layer of the true spirit secret realm. Then he continued to cultivate the superior spiritual grade martial skill, Samsara Awakening Palm. Last night's cultivation did not allow him to comprehend much. It seemed like he would still need a lot of time to master this martial technique. At noon, Liao Lele arrived as promised. Long Yu didn't say anything. He threw the spirit condensing pill to Liao Lele and continued to cultivate the awakening samsara palm. When Liao Lele saw that he was ignoring him, he could only leave gloomily. What a cultivation, madman, Liao Lele thought. This kind of cultivation lasted for 7 days. In the evening of this day, Long Yu finally followed the cultivation method of awakening samsara and circulated his Xian Qi through his meridians. And this also meant that Long Yu had finally succeeded in learning the samsara awakening palm martial technique. When cultivating some complicated martial techniques, one would usually start from the small circulation to familiarize himself with the special power produced by the martial technique. After familiarizing himself with the small circulation, he would be able to complete the large circulation to try and master the martial technique. Samsara awakening palm needed to be cultivated in this way. The difficulty of cultivating it was many times higher than ordinary martial techniques. Fortunately, he had the 9 underworld dragon seal, and the Samsara awakening palm was a martial technique derived from the 9 underworld dragon seal, which allowed Long Yu to master it in only 7 days. Drunk lying in the yellow springs, Samsara awakening palm, 2 martial techniques, one after the other. First, it makes people feel like they have fallen into the yellow springs. Then it sends them into the samsara. If it is used with full force, the power is extremely terrifying. Even though Long Yu had only succeeded in learning the palm of reincarnation, he could feel the power of reincarnation seeping out of his body after trying out a few punches. If he were to attack other martial cultivators, what kind of effect would there be? He looked out the window. It was already night, so he could only suppress the thought of looking for walking to spar. It was so late. Walking was either training or resting. It was not a good idea to disturb them now. I haven't had a good rest for the past 7 days. Since that's the case, I'll have a good sleep tonight. Long Yu made up his mind and lay down on the bamboo bed, ready to rest. As he had only slept for 2 to 4 hours for 7 consecutive days, the moment Long Yu lay down, he immediately fell asleep. The bamboo forest was silent at night. Only the moonlight shone on the bamboo forest, accompanied by the chirping of some insects, making the night seem even more empty and lonely. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed across the bamboo forest and headed towards the simple bamboo house that Long Yu was in. Whirlwind spear. From afar, a long spear formed from whirlwind swept towards Long Yu's bamboo house. In an instant, the entire house was pierced through. The terrifying power of the whirlwind exploded, exposing Long Yu's body. With such a huge movement, Long Yu naturally could not sleep soundly. Who's there? Long Yu stood up and saw the black shadow not far away. He could not help but have a strange look in his eyes. The black shadow seemed to be assassinating him, but it blew up the bamboo house with a whirlwind spear. It was obvious that it was purposely waking up Long Yu. Most importantly, Long Yu did not sense any murderous intent from the other party. He's not here to kill me. Long Yu made a judgment in an instant. If that's the case, I'll use you as a target to practice the samsara awakening palm. The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly as he rose into the air. Although the other party's martial realm was LV3 True Spirit Realm, Long Yu dared to fight him since he did not have any murderous intent. Immediately after, Long Yu released his sun True Spirit. As the light of the heaven-suppressing sun illuminated the entire bamboo forest, the masked black shadow was stunned for a moment. But then, a whirlwind spear formed in his hand and swept towards Long Yu at an extremely fast speed. Heaven-suppressing sun, suppress for me. Long Yu shouted and released the heaven-suppressing domain, shattering the whirlwind spear in midair. Phantom Valley Wings. Long Yu used his profound chi to activate the Ghost Valley Winged battle weapon, and his entire body instantly transformed into a stream of afterimages. He quickly shuttled through the bamboo forest, and with a flash, he appeared behind the masked black shadow. Samsara Awakening Palm, Reincarnation Road. One punch into Samsara. With lightning speed, Long Yu threw out a punch. Instantly, the power of samsara jumped out from his fist and enveloped the masked black shadow. Before the punch arrived, the reincarnation road was already under the masked black shadow's feet. Whoa! Long Yu only felt a buzzing sound. The masked black shadow seemed to have paused for a moment. His martial realm, that was LV3 True Spirit Realm, suddenly dropped to LV2 True Spirit Realm. Samsara Awakening Palm, Reincarnation Road. One punch into Samsara. Long Yu was shocked on the spot. With this punch, his opponent's martial realm seemed to have dropped by a level. How could the Samsara Awakening Palm be so heaven-defying? If it was said that the current Long Yu was unable to deal with an expert in the third level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, then after the other party's realm dropped by one level, Long Yu is no longer invincible. The drop in his opponent's cultivation is definitely not an illusion. The Black Shadow's cultivation is only at LV2 True Spirit Realm. However, his cultivation seems to be recovering rapidly as time passes. I'm afraid the drop in his cultivation will only last for a few breaths' time. Long Yu observed carefully and soon discovered this phenomenon. It turned out that the Samsara Awakening Palm, Reincarnation Road, could cause one's martial realm to drop and regress. Could this be the power of Samsara? One could imagine that if the power of Samsara reached a certain level, it could even send the opponent into Samsara, making it impossible for them to revive. Of course, even Long Yu himself could not imagine how much power was required to achieve this. Even if he reached the legendary unity of heaven and man realm, he would not be able to achieve this. Junior brother Long Yu, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. What kind of martial technique is this? It's too powerful. A bold and unrestrained laughter came from the masked figure. Immediately after, the masked figure took off the black cloth covering his face, revealing a handsome and arrogant face. It was walking. It's you, senior brother Boo. Long Yu was not surprised at all. He smiled and retracted the Ghost Valley wings on his back, withdrawing the Samsara force. How did you know it's me? Bufang could not help but ask. First of all, this is the Jintian clan's forbidden area. It's impossible for an assassin to sneak up on us from the Elder Pavilion, not to mention here. Long Yu explained with a smile. Secondly, senior brother Boo doesn't have any killing intent on you, so you're obviously not here to kill me. Lastly, none of the elders in the bamboo forest came out to check on us, so they must have known about this long ago. After analyzing the situation, Long Yu said in bewilderment, Senior brother Boo, if you want to test my strength, we can have a fair and square fight. With such a sneak attack, you even destroyed my residence. How troublesome. How is it troublesome? I'll let you have my own bamboo house. Bufang laughed heartily. The elders are curious about your strength, so they asked me to test you. Junior brother Long Yu, don't take it to heart. Don't worry, I'm not that narrow-minded. Besides, I've also tried the martial technique that I've just learned. It seems to be quite effective. Long Yu smiled. Bufang still had a lingering fear when he mentioned the Awakening Palm, Reincarnation Fist. He could not help but hit Long Yu's shoulder. You brat, you really scared me. The fist caused my martial path realm to drop by one level. Luckily, it only lasted for a few breaths, or else I'd be in trouble. I didn't know it would turn out like this. Actually, I've only just learned this martial technique, and I've never seen anyone use it before. Long Yu said awkwardly. Yes, this martial skill is indeed too powerful. As Bu Fu spoke, his expression turned serious. Junior brother Long, you must remember not to reveal this martial skill in an unrelated place. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will attract some unnecessary trouble. Once you use this martial technique, you must be confident that you can kill all your opponents. I know. Long Yu nodded solemnly. Chapter 122. A powerful cultivation technique was the foundation of a country, a family, or a sect. Powerful martial skills were the foundation for their forces to expand. The appearance of such a terrifying martial skill would definitely cause the entire Tang Empire to go crazy. Seeing Long Yu looking around, Bufang lowered his voice and smiled. Don't worry, Junior brother Long. The elders won't know about this move. Only then did Long Yu relax. Although most of the elders were on his side, no one knew if there were people like Wu Jinxin among them. By the way, since you already have such strength, I can bring you out for a walk without worries. Bufang changed the topic and smiled. A walk? Long Yu was taken aback. He did not know what Bufang meant. The Gumeng kingdom has invaded from the north and stationed troops at the border of the Tang Empire. Many young experts have already gone to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Bufang frowned. Moreover, there was news this evening that Feng Chang'e of Jade Pass City was captured by the Gumeng kingdom. Originally, Long Yu thought that the Gumeng kingdom's invasion had nothing to do with him. But now that he heard the news, his expression changed. My adoptive father was captured by the Gumeng kingdom? This is the news that my master told me. So I rushed over to take a look. How about it, junior brother Long? Do you want to come with me? Bufang asked. Of course, Long Yu said firmly. Originally, he wanted to practice the awakening samsara palm in this bamboo forest until he reached great success. Apart from that, he still needed to comprehend the other half of the lunar heavenly tablet. But since Feng Chang'e was in trouble, he could not remain indifferent. How will our Tang Empire react to the Gumeng kingdom's invasion? Long Yu asked. The Long family's major, General Long Ji, has led 100,000 martial cultivators to the border to resist the Gumeng kingdom's old general man Yi. Bufang said. However, your adoptive father, Feng Chang'e, was captured by the Gumeng kingdom's assassins after they bypassed the border and entered Jade Pass City. Jade Pass City is thousands of miles away from the border between the two countries, but it can be considered a place to stay. Moreover, there are traces of Gumeng assassins. So many experts have gathered in Jade Pass City. I need to make a trip to Jade Pass City first. Long Yu made his decision. That's exactly what I planned. Bufang smiled and reminded. However, junior brother Long, you have to be careful. Your identity has been spread everywhere. If you leave the Jintian clan, your life might be in danger at any time. It doesn't matter. Foster father is in trouble. No matter what, I have to go out. Long Yu said in a deep voice. He had already expected that his identity would be exposed, but he did not expect it to spread at this time. In the Great Tang Empire, the General Long clan, the Mo clan of the Xiang clan, and the Chu clan of the Imperial clan all had many people who wanted Long Yu's life. Yes, Bubu nodded and said, although it's dangerous, you don't have to worry. Your grandfather has been suppressing this matter. Even if someone wanted to kill you, they wouldn't dare to do it openly. My grandfather? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. His father was Long Zai-Tian, so his grandfather was naturally Long Zai-Tian's father, a member of the General Long clan. With regards to the General Long clan, Long Yu did not know much. He only knew that the golden-armored youth he saw in the ancient forest of the Imperial clan was definitely a disciple of the General Long clan. To be qualified to be the personal guard of the Imperial princess, that golden-armored youth's cultivation was definitely not weaker than Bubu's. From this, it could be seen how large the General Long clan was. No matter who it is, if they want to deal with me, they'll have to ask the 9 underworld dragon seal on my chest first. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes as he thought to himself. If he really met an opponent that he could not resist, he still had the 9 underworld dragon seal as his final trump card. This was an existence that had inherited a supreme, ancient secret. It was not something that the people of the true spirit secret realm could fathom. As for the human and heaven unity realm, would an expert at that level be so bored as to find trouble with Long Yu? The next morning, early in the morning, Liao Lele came to deliver the soup dumplings to Long Yu, only to find that the bamboo house he lived in had exploded and there was no sign of him. After asking around, she found out that Long Yu and Bu Bu had already left the Jintian clan. She stood beside the collapsed bamboo house for a long time. That blue robe fluttered in the wind, looking lonely. At this time, Long Yu and Bu Bu were already heading towards the Jade Pass City. The two of them did not rush on horseback, but instead used their own methods to quickly head towards the Jade Pass City. Bu Bu used his movement skill, the world's in near at hand. His speed was several times faster than a horse running at full speed. As for Long Yu, he used the Ghost Valley wings and at the same time, he used his movement skill, the Spectre Flash, so that his speed was even faster than walking. The Ghost Valley Wings is a transcendent spirit-level combat weapon forged from the wings of a powerful demonic beast slain by a martial expert. When activated, it can move like a gust of wind and can even glide for a short distance. As the two of them moved forward, Boo Boo introduced the Ghost Valley Wings to Long Yu. It's a pity that the weapon refining array on the Ghost Valley Wings is damaged, and it no longer has any special effects. What a pity. Ghost Valley Wings? Long Yu was somewhat puzzled. The name did not sound like the name of a demonic beast, but more like the name of a protector of an evil sect. Yes, it's a type of demonic beast that lives in groups in the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul. An adult Ghost Valley Wings has the strength of at least the 7th layer of the true spirit realm. Boo Boo explained with a solemn expression. The Ghost Valley of Sky Soul is located at the border of our Great Tang Kingdom, Ancient Ming Kingdom, and Eastern Sun Kingdom. It's a place ruled by demonic beasts, and its territory is extremely vast. I'm afraid it's comparable to our Great Tang Kingdom. The border of the 3 kingdoms, the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul. Long Yu silently memorized the name, but just by listening to Boo Boo's words, he knew that the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul was not a place that he could enter at his current level. An adult Ghost Valley envoy might be able to fight against white cloud tracks. However, what made Long Yu shocked was that there was actually someone who was able to kill Wing Envoy Gue Gu and refine his wings into battle weapons. It could be seen that among the human martial cultivators, there were many people who were stronger than white cloud tracks. The two of them executed their respective techniques and headed towards Jade Gate City. A journey that would normally take 3 days on horseback was completed in half a day. The two of them set off from the Jintian clan in the morning, and they saw the shadow of Jade Gate City in the evening. We're almost there. Let's go in and take a look. Boo Boo's movement technique was extremely fast, and although the world's end near at hand was only a mortal-level transcendent grade martial technique, it had a huge advantage when traveling, and it was even more useful than some spiritual-level movement techniques. By relying on the Ghost Valley Wings, Long Yu could keep up with Boo Boo's pace, and the consumption of Xianqi was much less than Boo Boo's. Long Yu walked to the entrance of the Jade Pass City before stopping. As for Long Yu, he kept his war soldier Ghost Valley Wings. He calmed his emotions and entered Jade Gate City with Boo Boo. Jade Gate City was usually a bustling and peaceful scene, but the current Jade Gate City was shrouded in a murderous aura. Within Jade Gate City, there were many inns, taverns, and other places to stay, and they were all occupied by foreign cultivators. Among these cultivators, there were even experts who had condensed their true spirits. Jade Gate City was not the closest city to the border, but it was the city where the ancient Ming assassins appeared, and it was the main road to many cities. Hence, many wandering martial cultivators who wanted to fight against the ancient Ming Empire gathered in Jade Gate City, looking for companions, and set off together. According to the laws of the Great Tang Empire, as long as one could kill the enemy's martial cultivators or generals, no matter what their status was, they would be rewarded handsomely. Even though the Great Tang Empire had already sent out the Long family's major, General Long Ji, to lead 100,000 martial cultivators to fight against the ancient Ming Empire, the rewards for killing the enemy still made many martial cultivators jealous. In Jade Gate City, there were so many martial cultivators, and the atmosphere in the city became murderous. It seems like we can't even find a place to stay. Boo Boo looked around and said with a smile. The sky was already dark, and even if they wanted to rush to the front lines, they had to rest in Jade Gate City tonight. Moreover, Long Yu would definitely have to return to the Feng family to take a look. No worries, Senior Boo. Follow me to the Feng family. There will definitely be a place to stay. As Long Yu spoke, he frowned. Now that so many martial cultivators had come to Jade Gate City, and Feng Chang'e had been captured by the ancient Ming Empire's assassins not long ago. In other words, the Xinfeng family did not have the power to protect themselves. If the Xinfeng family clashed with the martial cultivators of the Jianghu, they would most likely suffer a great loss. As Long Yu thought of this, he could not help but feel anxious to go back to the Feng family to take a look. Let's go quickly. Now that Jade Gate City is in such turmoil, and the Feng family has no one to guard it, I'm afraid there will be some changes. Boo Boo also narrowed his eyes and quickly moved towards the Feng family's residence. He had been to the Feng family's residence and naturally knew the direction. Long Yu followed Boo Boo, and his pace was even faster than Boo Boo's. Very quickly, they passed a few streets and saw the Feng family's residence in the west of the city. The two of you stop right there. Suddenly, a ruthless shout came from in front of the two. There were actually two martial cultivators of the Jianghu wearing armor, and they were blocking the way to the Feng family's residence. This scene caused Long Yu's heart to sink. The two armored martial cultivators seemed to be guarding the way to the Feng family's residence, and it was very likely that something had happened to the Feng family. With just the two of you, you dare to tell me to stop? Long Yu snorted coldly. With a glance, he could see that the two armored martial cultivators only had a cultivation of the 6th level of the martial path. These two fellows actually dared to block him and Boo Boo? In reality, the two armored martial cultivators could naturally see that Long Yu and Boo Boo's martial cultivation was very high, but the gap between them was too great, and they could not see the specific martial cultivation of Long Yu and Boo Boo. Chapter 123. Long Yu didn't stop. He didn't even look at the two martial cultivators. They were only at the 6th rank of the martial path. Even if they were wearing armors, they were at most mortal low-rank combat weapons. They couldn't even block a single attack from Long Yu. Stop right there. One of the martial cultivators panicked and shouted, "This mansion has been occupied by our boss. Our boss has already condensed his true soul. If you know what's good for you, get the hell out of here." Gather? Chariot? Huh. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. A pair of white wings suddenly appeared on his back. He turned into a beam of light and dashed forward. He didn't move at all, but the two martial cultivators who blocked his way were sent flying. They fell to the ground and vomited blood. Dart Dragon Leap. Long Yu used this skill as fast as he could. He held the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand and swept it horizontally. A gust of air rolled him up and sent him flying hundreds of meters away. His figure instantly landed in the middle of the Feng mansion, at the entrance of the hall. Bu Feng followed from afar. He wasn't in a hurry. Long Yu was confident that he could deal with these martial cultivators by himself. What Bu Feng was more concerned about was a guy hiding in a dark corner not far away. Is he purposely watching the Feng mansion and waiting for Long Yu to take the bait? Bu Feng narrowed his eyes and walked towards the corner. He had already guessed that now that Long Yu's identity was exposed, although he was suppressing his grandfather in the Long family, there would definitely be assassins sent to deal with Long Yu. And now he had caught one. In the mansion of the Feng clan, a middle-aged man wearing a white robe and looking gentle and refined was sitting on the seat of the clan master, enjoying the tea and fruits served by a subordinate next to him. Xiao Jinyu was one of the more famous Jianghu martial cultivators in the area. Usually, he focused on training, but coincidentally, ancient Meng had invaded, so he ran out. He was prepared to go out and kill the enemy. He might be able to get some training resources as a reward, which would allow his martial arts to reach a higher level. With his first level of the true spirit secret realm, he easily gathered over 100 martial cultivators of the pugilistic world and came to the Jade Pass city in groups. He was prepared to rest for a few days, and at the same time, train the 100 martial cultivators of the pugilistic world on their battle coordination. But after arriving at Jade Pass city, they could not find a suitable place to settle down at all. Coincidentally, the head of the Feng family, Feng Chang'e, was captured by the assassins of the ancient Meng country. This gave Xiao Jinyu an excellent reason to come and occupy the Feng residence. After all, if Feng Chang'e was still around, he wouldn't have dared to occupy the Feng mansion. After all, the Tang Empire had a law that stated that the mansion in the city belonged to the patriarch. However, since Feng Chang'e had been captured, he could use the excuse of protecting the Feng residence to occupy it. In the beginning, the few dozen people of the Feng family were naturally resolute in their resistance. However, with the appearance of Qiu Jinyo's true spirit, who dared to say half a word of no? An expert who had stepped into the true spirit's secret realm was not someone that small shrimps at the 6th or 7th level of the martial path could resist. After taking over the Feng residence, Qiu Jinyu stayed in the Feng residence for 2 days. These days were much more comfortable than when he cultivated peacefully in the past. As for the dozens of people of the Feng family, they were all imprisoned in the martial skill pavilion of the Feng residence by Qiu Jinyu. He did not allow any of them to leave and sent people to strictly guard them. At this time, Qiu Jinyu was sitting in the patriarch seat in the hall of the Feng residence. He squinted his eyes and asked a little brother beside him, "That's right, that girl from the Feng family. Have you found her yet?" "Boss, we've sent more than 10 people out, but until now, we still haven't found any trace of her. I'm afraid that she has already left the Jade Pass City." The little brother replied with some difficulty, "What a bunch of trash." Qiu Jinyo's expression instantly darkened. "I told you to find a girl from the Feng family, but you can't even find her. Just what is going on? If we go to the battlefield and fight against the martial cultivators of the ancient Ming country, wouldn't we not be able to catch a single one? Why do you have to come back to claim the reward?" "Boss, please calm down." The little brother immediately broke out in a cold sweat. "There's more than one girl from the Feng family. How about I go pick another one with soft skin and tender flesh for boss to enjoy?" Qiu Jinyu coldly snorted. "Then pick one for me. Remember, it must be a young one. Only then will it be fun to play with." "Yes, boss." The little brother accepted the order and turned to leave. However, at this time, the sound of the earth quaking came from outside the hall. Then, everyone saw a youth dressed in black descend from the sky and heavily step on the door of the hall. This person was Long Yu, who came after hearing the sound. "Who are you, brat?" Immediately, a martial cultivator shouted. They all felt that Long Yu was very strong, but with Qiu Jinyu here, what was there to be afraid of? "I'm someone who wants your lives." Long Yu raised his head, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Haha, you want our lives? Why don't you look at who our boss is?" A Jianghu cultivator laughed out loud. However, his laughter stopped abruptly as his eyes popped out of their sockets. Long Yu used the 10,000 kill spear technique and pierced through his chest. Now you want to pick a young girl from the Feng family for your boss to play with." Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear and walked step by step towards the skinny little brother who was preparing to go to the martial skill pavilion. His body emitted an extremely strong killing intent, causing the hearts of the surrounding martial cultivators to tremble. However, when they looked at their boss, Qiu Jinyu, they discovered that he was calm and composed. A brat who still smells of his mother's milk. Does he think that he could do whatever he wants after condensing his true spirit? Qiu Jinyu said coldly as he looked at Long Yu, as if he was looking at a dead man. He slammed the table and stood up. Long Yu came to quickly and instantly killed one of his 8th level martial Dao subordinates. This made Qiu Jinyu extremely angry. Although he could see that the black-clothed youth in front of him had also condensed his true spirit and reached the 1st level of the true spirit realm, he naturally did not think that the black-clothed youth in front of him was stronger than him. After all, he had already lived for 40 years. The martial skills he cultivated, combat experience, etc., were definitely much stronger than the black-clothed youth in front of him. Long Yu listened to Qiu Jinyo's words and did not pay any attention to it. He only looked at the little brother who was preparing to pick a girl. "Kill!" Long Yu raised his spear, and a burst of killing intent spread. "Boss, save me!" The little brother turned pale with fright and hurriedly retreated. However, in the next moment, he felt a pain in his chest. In the blink of an eye, the black-clothed youth had actually arrived in front of him and stabbed the spear in his hand into his chest, shattering his heart meridians. The skinny little brother's eyes widened. He never expected that he would die here. "How dare you?" Qiu Jinyu was even more furious when he saw this. He never thought that Long Yu would ignore his existence and directly kill another of his 9th level martial Dao lackeys. "Originally, I saw that you had some cultivation and wanted to give you a chance to follow me." Qiu Jinyu. But now, you have killed 2 of my subordinates. If I don't take your life, how will I have the face to face my subordinates?" Qiu Jinyu shouted angrily as he took out a soft sword from his waist and charged towards Long Yu. "Boss, kill him and let him know how powerful we are. This brat who still smells of his mother's milk actually dares to barge in and kill our people. Boss, you must not let him off." The surrounding martial cultivators of the pugilistic world jeered. When they saw Qiu Jinyu attack, it was as if they could already see the tragic scene of Long Yu dying. However, Long Yu did not move at all in the face of Qiu Jinyu's attack. "Do you think that you can do whatever you want after condensing your true spirit?" Long Yu stood still with the spear in his hand and said indifferently, "I will return those words to you without changing a single word." As his voice fell, layers of spear shadows appeared in front of him, accompanied by the heaven-suppressing domain that enveloped everyone present. At that moment, everyone present felt as if a mountain was pressing down on their heads. Some of those with low cultivation couldn't even withstand it and knelt on the ground. Even Qiu Jinyu's figure staggered and almost fell to the ground. "Snake, true spirit!" Qiu Jinyu shouted, and a venomous snake's true spirit shadow appeared behind him, instantly filling his entire body with a dangerous aura. "Flying snake sword." Qiu Jinyu held the sword in his hand and bypassed the layers of spear shadows, continuing to attack Long Yu. After he condensed the venomous snake's true spirit shadow, he was actually able to find some gaps in the heaven-suppressing domain and attacked Long Yu nimbly through these gaps. At the same time, the sword in his hand was like a real venomous snake, appearing in front of Long Yu in an instant. 10,000 killer. Kill 10,000 with one strike of the spear. If you're only facing one person, then condense the power to kill 10,000 people into one point. Even if God blocks your way, I will kill God without fear. With the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, Long Yu was like a god of death descending on the battlefield as he simply struck out with a spear. This spear contained endless killing intent. Even though Long Yu had only cultivated the 10,000 killer spear technique to the initial realm, it was still a superior spiritual level martial technique. On the other hand, Qiu Jinyu's flying snake sword was only a superior mortal level martial technique. It was already very impressive for ordinary martial cultivators to be able to cultivate some superior mortal level martial techniques. They had no chance to come into contact with spiritual level martial techniques. This was because these martial cultivators usually did not have the qualifications to join the 7 great sects when they were young. After that, they would quietly cultivate on their own. Without the resources of the sects, not only would their cultivation speed be slower, but most importantly, they would not have a source of martial techniques and combat weapons. It was precisely because of this that the martial cultivators of the underworld were so enthusiastic about the invasion of the ancient Ming kingdom. Once they were able to achieve battle merits, they would be able to receive rewards from the great sections. Regardless of whether it was combat weapons or martial techniques, they would have ample choice. When a spiritual level martial technique clashed with a mortal level martial technique, the outcome was obvious. Needless to say, this was the spiritual level martial technique that Long Yu had executed 10,000 killer. Just as the surrounding martial cultivators of the underworld were mocking Long Yu, who wanted to see him defeated, Long Yu easily shattered Qiu Jinyu's soft sword with a single strike of his spear. Immediately after, the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain descended and completely suppressed Qiu Jinyu. Chapter 124. Long Yu put away the 9 nether dragon spear. Qiu Jinyu, who was dressed in white, fell in front of Long Yu with blood flowing out of his body. An expression of disbelief still appeared on his face. Spirit level. The corner of Qiu Jinyu's mouth slightly moved as he muttered these 2 words. However, he no longer had the strength to say the rest of the words. Spirit level weapon. Spirit level martial skill. What he wanted to say was perhaps these 2 words. Whether it was a spirit-level weapon or a spirit-level martial skill, they were both things that he dreamed of. However, before he could obtain these two things, he died because of them. As Qiu Jinyo's body fell, the surrounding martial practitioners were all shocked on the spot. Everyone looked at the black-clothed young man, Long Yu. Just now, there was a commotion, but now there was complete silence. None of them thought that their boss, who had condensed his true spirit, would be killed by a black-clothed young man. Following the loss of Qiu Jinyo's life force, the true spirit of the poisonous snake dissipated into the air. Finally, someone reacted and hurriedly knelt down while crying, "Great hero, please spare my life. Everything was done by that Qiu Jinyu. It has nothing to do with me. Please spare me." Following this cry, the people present started to cry and beg for mercy. They knew that if Long Yu wanted to kill them, all of them together wouldn't be a match for him. The feeling of empty Tai pressing down on them still made everyone's hearts palpitate. However, Long Yu did not care about the remaining people. He put away the 9 nether dragon spear, turned around, and walked towards the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. Right now, the most important thing was to see how the Feng clan was doing. If anything happens to them, I will make all of you pay with your lives. Long Yu thought in his heart. His entire body emitted killing intent as he walked towards the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. At this time, there were 4 martial practitioners guarding the entrance of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. They were pointing at the empty space in front of them. And in the empty space in front of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion, there was a young man from the Feng clan. His hands and feet were tied, and he was firmly suppressed by 2 strong martial practitioners. The youth from the Feng clan had a young face and was only 16 years old. He was only at the 4th stage of the martial path. At this moment, the 2 muscular martial cultivators had tied the young man up tightly. There was also a fat man holding a large machete, waiting for something at the side. "You 3 little bastards, watch carefully for me." The fat man with the machete was like a butcher. He looked around and said brutally, "If you don't come out, I will chop off this kid's head. I'll count to 3. I want to see if you guys are going to leave me in the lurch." As he said this, the youth who was firmly suppressed had a look of determination on his face. "Haofeng, Xiaofei, Yusin, don't come out. You'll die if you do." The youth roared with a resolute expression. Although this young man from the Feng clan was not old, he was filled with boiling hot blood. In reality, none of the people who stayed in the Feng clan were cowards. From the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion, a wave of loud cursing came out. It was obvious that the other members of the Feng clan were locked inside. Seeing the youth about to be beheaded, they were incomparably indignant. "You bunch of bandits, hurry up and let him go. Bastard, if you make a move, we'll fight you to the death. Everyone, don't worry. Just hold on a bit longer." Big Brother Haofeng must have already gone to the Jintian clan to inform Big Brother Long Yu. There were a total of 39 people from the Xinfeng clan imprisoned in the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. However, the 4 martial cultivators guarding the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion were all experts of the 9th level of the martial Dao. The combined strength of everyone in the Xinfeng clan was not enough to deal with one of them. Everyone looked through the window of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion and saw that the youth was about to be beheaded. All of them were filled with righteous indignation and incomparable anger. So much nonsense. The fat man with the machete spat on the youth and said with disdain, "You'd rather die than let someone come and save you? You're really stupid. I'll start counting. 3, 2. At this time, the figures of 2 youths suddenly crossed the wall of the Feng mansion and appeared in front of everyone. One of the youths was dressed in gray. He had a sturdy body and looked to be around 18 years old. His face was firm and his eyes were like steel. The other youth was skinny like a monkey. He was also dressed in gray. His movements were extremely agile and his eyes flashed with intelligence. "Stop, we're here!" The 2 youths shouted in unison, and their sudden appearance caused everyone present to be shocked. "Haofeng, Xiaofei." When the youth who was tied up saw this, his face revealed a look of surprise. He never thought that when he was in danger, Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei would actually appear. However, the 2 of them appearing now was purely suicidal. Whether it was Feng Haofeng or Feng Xiaofei, Even if they had made some progress recently, they were at most at the 7th level of the martial Tao. Facing this group of vicious and evil martial cultivators, the two of them had no chance of winning. Appearing was equivalent to courting death. You really came out. Should I say that you're really loyal, or should I say that you're all idiots? The fat man with the machete smiled cruelly. You two crafty fellows, you're finally willing to come out. However, with just the two of you, you want to save this kid's life. You went back on your word. The steel-like Feng Haofeng glared angrily. Didn't you say that as long as we come out, you'll let him go? I said that the three of you would come out. But now only the two of you have come out. The cruel fat man with the machete smiled disdainfully. There's also that little girl. Where did she go? Our boss has been looking for her. Just that Xiao Jingyu, and he wants to hit on our Yusin? The agile Feng Xiaofei's eyes flashed with disdain. If you have the guts, wait for Yusin to go to the Jintian clan and call our brother Long Yu back. Then we'll fight with Xiao Jingyu. Do you dare or not? Stinking brat, you're still too young to be able to scare me. The butcher-like fat man's eyes flashed with brutality. I don't care if you call Long Yu or Snake Yu. I'll kill you all first. When these words came out, Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei's faces instantly turned pale. The current situation, they had never imagined that their Xinfeng clan would be powerless against this group of ferocious Jianghu martial cultivators. At this time, everyone in the Xinfeng clan thought of that day, the day the Xinfeng clan was established. That black-clothed figure, Long Yu, stood in front of them and defeated the other three clan heads of Jade Pass City. Although they had ordered Feng Yusin to go to the Jintian clan and inform Long Yu, they were not confident that Long Yu would be able to win against Xiao Jingyu of the True Spirit Secret Realm. No matter what, the two of them did not seem to have the chance to live until then. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei looked at each other, their eyes flashing with determination. No matter what, they had to stop these fellows from killing anyone from the Xinfeng clan, even if it meant risking their lives. Kill! Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei condensed their Xian Qi and instantly attacked the fat man with a machete from different directions. Overestimating yourself. The fat man raised the machete in his hand high up, his face revealing a sinister expression, following which Xian Qi condensed at the tip of the blade. With his 9th rank of the martial path, why would he be afraid of these two 7th-rank brats in front of him? However, just as he was about to slash down with his machete and kill the young man who was tied up, a terrifying suppressive force descended from the sky and landed on top of his head, causing his entire body to stiffen. Heaven's suppressing domain, suppress. Long Yu's voice came from not far away, following which, his black-clothed figure walked step by step towards the direction of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. As soon as he arrived, he saw that there were indeed people who wanted to attack the Xinfeng clan. Naturally, he was incomparably furious. However, he did not immediately kill the enemy, but hid at the side, wanted to see what Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei would do in this situation. Would they abandon the others and escape, or would they barge in to save them? Reality proved that even if barging in to save them would cost them their lives, they still barged in without hesitation. This did not disappoint Long Yu. What was left of the Xinfeng clan were all loyal and righteous men. When the fat man was about to make a move, Long Yu immediately released his heaven-suppressing domain, enveloping the fat man and the surrounding martial cultivators within it. With this, it was as if Mount Tai was pressing down, causing all the martial cultivators to be unable to move at all. What's going on? All the martial cultivators of the Jianghu broke out in cold sweat. What was this powerful pressure? Under this tyrannical heaven-suppressing domain, they could not even turn their heads to look at Long Yu. Hearing Long Yu's voice, all the Feng clan Yu's faces lit up. It was actually Brother Long Yu. Even if it was Brother Long Yu, facing so many 9th-rank martial path cultivators, I'm afraid it would be extremely difficult. Xiaofei and we must hold this fat man back. Feng Haofeng thought to himself as he exchanged glances with Feng Xiaofei. Both of them saw the same thought in each other's eyes. Since that's the case, Then let's go. Feng Haofeng did not have any hesitation as he executed the Feng clan's middle-rank mortal rank martial skill, Heaven-Splitting Kick. With a whirlwind, he swept his leg towards the fat man holding the machete. This kick was a feint attack. If the fat man wanted to counterattack, Feng Haofeng could immediately retreat, and Feng Xiaofei could take the opportunity to harass him. However, Feng Haofeng realized that the fat man was not moving at all. Moreover, his fat face was covered in layers of sweat, and his small eyes were filled with fear. What was going on? Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei did not know that Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain had such terrifying power. It could completely suppress the fat man and all the martial cultivators of the Jianghu. Their martial skills heavily bombarded the fat man's fat body. Their combined strength reached 100,000 jin, and the fat man was sent flying with a single blow. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 125. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei each made a move and sent the fat man flying. He fell heavily to the ground, and the machete fell to the ground with a dang sound. This scene caused the 41 people of the Xinfeng clan to be dumbfounded. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei, the two of them working together, could actually defeat a 9th-stage martial path cultivator? This is too unbelievable. Of course, they didn't know that the fat man had already been completely suppressed by Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain. He didn't have any strength to resist. Not only that, the other Jianghu cultivators were also suppressed by Long Yu and couldn't move at all. I'm here, it's fine now. As Long Yu stepped into the arena, the shadow of the sun's true spirit rose behind him. In an instant, the light of the heaven-suppressing sun shone down on the entire arena. True spirit, it's a true spirit. This scene caused the 41 people of the Xinfeng clan to become excited. Big Brother Long Yu has actually condensed a true spirit. If that's the case, then that fat man must have been suppressed by Big Brother Long Yu, right? These people have all been suppressed by me. As for how you want to deal with them, it's up to you. Long Yu released the shadow of the sun's true spirit, causing the Jianghu cultivators to be shocked on the spot. They immediately wanted to beg for mercy, but under the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain, they couldn't even open their mouths to do such a simple thing. Kill. The thin and shrewd Feng Xiaofei was the first to speak. He took a step forward and picked up the machete. With one slash, he killed the fat man that he and Feng Haofeng had sent flying. Although he wasn't old, he was decisive in killing. He knew that he couldn't let even one of these people go. The steel-like Feng Haofeng also didn't hesitate. He took 2 steps forward and kicked the 2 Jianghu cultivators who were tied up. He heavily kicked their lower abdomens. Tens of thousands of jin of strength instantly shattered their dantian. As for the 4 Jianghu martial cultivators that were guarding the martial skill pavilion, they were easily crippled by the new Feng clan disciples that rushed out of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. They were tied together and thrown into the open space in front of the martial skill pavilion. The moment Long Yu arrived, the situation immediately reversed. Originally, the martial cultivators of the pugilistic world were constantly bullying the people of the Xinfeng family. But now, they were completely subdued by the people of the Xinfeng family. The most brutal fatty was killed by Feng Xiaofei, and the other 6 were all crippled and tied up. Seeing this, Long Yu kept the sun true spirit and dispersed the heaven-suppressing domain with a wave of his hand. Now that he had unleashed his heaven-suppressing domain, he could precisely control the area of effect so that it would only affect his enemies and not his allies. However, the heaven-suppressing domain consumed more Xian Qi than usual. Fortunately, he had already condensed his true spirit, and the total amount of Xian Qi in his meridians was several times more than when he was in the 9th stage of the martial path. Big Brother Long Yu. Their leader is called Qiu Jinyu. He is also an expert who has condensed his true spirit. After the Jianghu martial cultivators in the martial skill pavilion were dealt with, Feng Haofeng walked over and said to Long Yu with a serious expression, "That's right. that Qiu Jinyo's true spirit is a poisonous snake. Big Brother Long Yu, if you fight against him, you must be careful. Feng Xiaofei's eyes were filled with worry. Haha, don't worry. Seeing that they were so concerned about him, Long Yu couldn't help but feel warmth in his heart. He couldn't help but laugh. That Qiu Jinyu was just killed by me. Right now, the Feng clan mansion is already ours. As soon as he said this, he saw the faces of the 41 people of the Xinfeng family light up with joy. Qiu Jinyu was actually killed by Big Brother Long Yu. As expected of the genius of the Xintian clan, Big Brother Long Yu was able to kill Qiu Jinyu despite being surrounded by so many martial cultivators. One could see how strong he was. Feng Xiaofei, tell me, when did that Qiu Jinyu come? What happened in the Feng clan? Now that the crisis was over, Long Yu couldn't wait to hear the news about Feng Chang'e. The smart and capable Feng Xiaofei nodded and quickly explained everything from the beginning to the end. In the beginning, under the leadership of Feng Chang'e, the 42 disciples of the Xinfeng family had made good progress. This was because the Feng clan had left behind a lot of elixirs, weapons, and other resources, which were now distributed to the 42 disciples. In this way, Feng Haofeng, Feng Xiaofei, and Feng Yusin, who were originally talented, finally broke through the bottleneck and reached the 7th stage of the martial path. They were known as the 3 heroes of the Feng clan. Not only that, the rest of the Xinfeng family also had a breakthrough, and their overall strength rose to another level. Unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. Just 3 days ago, an assassin from ancient Ming country broke into Feng Chang'e's room and took him away. Feng Haofeng and the rest could only watch helplessly, unable to stop it. Feng Xiaofei compared the assassin to Qiu Jinyu. The assassin was much stronger than Qiu Jinyu. He was definitely not just a first-stage true spirit cultivator. After Feng Chang'e was taken away, Feng Xiaofei and Feng Yusin suggested to take precautions and, at the same time, inform Long Yu, who was in the Xintian clan, about what happened here. However, before they could spread the news, Qiu Jinyu led a large group of martial cultivators and broke into the Feng clan's mansion. Under the suppression of Qiu Jinyu's true spirit cultivation, they had no way to resist and were all chased into the martial skill pavilion and imprisoned. During this time, Qiu Jinyu took a fancy to the cute Feng Yusin and wanted to take her away. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei naturally wouldn't let this happen. After finding an opportunity, the 3 of them escaped from the Feng clan's mansion. Then, Feng Yusin went to the Xintian clan to inform Long Yu. It was a pity that Long Yu didn't see Feng Yusin along the way, and he didn't know how she was doing. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei stayed behind to wait for an opportunity to rescue the Feng clan. Now, the Feng clan's crisis had been resolved, but unfortunately, Feng Yusin's situation was unknown. Everyone, stay calm. Yusin will be fine. Long Yu comforted everyone. The Tang Empire was still very stable as a whole. The group of martial cultivators, led by Qiu Jinyu, was a rare exception. Feng Yusin didn't have any enemies, so she shouldn't be in any danger when she went to the Xintian clan. As long as they reached the Xintian clan, Old White and Old Black, the 2 guardian elders, Feng Yusin only needed to say that she was looking for Long Yu, and there wouldn't be any problems. According to the time, it had been almost 3 days since Feng Yusin left the Feng clan for the Xintian clan. It was almost time for her to reach the Xintian clan. Xiaofei, and I will go look for her. Feng Haofeng looked at Long Yu and asked. Long Yu nodded. It wasn't appropriate for Feng Yusin to be alone. However, just as he nodded, an arrogant laughter came from the side. Haha, no need to look for her. There's a letter here. The sound of footsteps reached Long Yu's ears. Long Yu turned around and saw a man in black tights holding a letter and walking toward him with a smile on his face. Senior Brother Boo, where did you go just now? Long Yu stood up and asked. Finished off a small one? Xiunjinyo, Guqinwadinyo, Ping, Ku Chongmu Hammer, DMO, talk about malaria, DMO, F*CKU. As Boo said that, he tossed the letter over to him. Long Yu caught it and looked at the signature. It was Feng Yusin. As for the recipient, it wrote, Big Brother Long Yu. Seeing this, Long Yu was relieved. After all, this meant that Feng Yusin must have reached the Jintian clan. Otherwise, she wouldn't know that he had returned to the Feng clan in Jade Pass City. Long Yu opened the letter and quickly read the contents of the letter. It turned out that Feng Yusin had arrived at the Jintian clan at noon. She said that she was looking for Long Yu, so she met Old White and Old Black, as well as Liao Lele. As soon as she saw them, she knew that Long Yu had already set off for Jade Pass City. Feng Yusin was relieved. With Long Yu going to Jade Pass City, the Feng clan's crisis would definitely be resolved. Following which, Old White saw that Feng Yusin had talent in alchemy and suggested to take her as his disciple. Feng Yuxin was hesitant. Thus, at the peak of the Heaven Suppression Canyon, she wrote this letter and sent it to Long Yu in Jade Pass City, asking him to make a decision. Feng Yusin. Long Yu thought. He had some impression of this lass. She should be around 16 years old, but she had already reached the 7th rank of the martial path. Her talent was definitely not inferior to Feng Yao's. Now, Old White said that she had talent in alchemy. This made Feng Yusin extraordinary. If the Feng clan wants to grow stronger, we must have an alchemist. Since Feng Yusin has talent in alchemy, it's not a bad idea to take Old White as her master. Long Yu made his decision and prepared to write a letter for Feng Yusin to take him as her master. Big brother Long Yu, is this a letter from Feng Yusin? Feng Haofeng looked at Long Yu opening the letter and asked nervously. Yes. Long Yu nodded with a smile. She has already arrived at the Jintian clan. The elder of the Jintian clan thinks that she has talent in alchemy, so he wants to take her as his disciple. Is that true? Feng Xiaofei, who was at the side, curled his lips and said, could it be that the sect guardian elder has some kind of weird fetish and is plotting against Yusin? Don't spout nonsense. Long Yu glared at him. Old White is a senior that I respect, and he is the only alchemist of the Jintian clan. Since big brother Long Yu has said so, then I can rest assured. Feng Xiaofei said with a sad face. But if this is the case, when can we see Feng Yusin again? Feng Haofeng didn't say anything, but his expression was the same as Feng Xiaofei's. Feng Haofeng, Feng Xiaofei, and Feng Yusin could be said to be the 3 heroes of the Feng clan. Now that one of them was gone, the other 2 would definitely be reluctant. As long as everyone lives well, there will be a chance to meet again, Long Yu said with a smile. Walking to Long Yu's side, he looked around and sized up the people of the Feng clan. At this moment, he finally suggested, everyone's talent in martial arts is not bad, and you are more than qualified to join the Jintian clan. Why don't we go to the Jintian clan together? Jade Gate City is very dangerous now, and junior brother Long Yu and I cannot stay here forever. If you join the Jintian clan, your safety will be guaranteed. Chapter 126. The condition to join the Jintian clan was to pass through the Sky Suppression Canyon, and they couldn't be older than 18. There were a total of 42 people in the Xinfeng clan, and almost all of them could meet this condition. However, 2 of them were already 18 years old and weren't qualified to join. However, both of them had reached the 6th stage of the martial path, which meant that they weren't even 18 when they reached the 4th stage of the martial path. From this point of view, all the disciples of the Xinfeng clan were qualified to join the Jintian clan. Even the youths who were at the 3rd stage of the martial path had reached the 4th stage of the martial path after Feng Chang's training, so they could easily pass through the Sky Suppression Canyon. Senior Brother Bu is right. Long Yu pondered for a moment and said solemnly, Senior Brother Bu and I can't stay here forever. My godfather was captured by the ancient Ming country's assassins, so we have to act as soon as possible. Joining the Jintian clan is a good idea, but there are so many of us. Will it be inconvenient for us to join the Jintian clan? Feng Haofeng said calmly. It's fine. I'll write a recommendation letter, and you can pass it to the Jintian clan. Bu Feng smiled and said, it's fine if you don't want to join the Jintian clan. At least you can stay in the Jintian clan temporarily to cultivate and hide from the chaos. Thank you, senior brother. I think it's fine if we just stay here for a while. Feng Haofeng nodded his head seriously. If they joined the Jintian clan, they would definitely be restricted by the Jintian clan's rules. In that case, the Xinfeng clan would only exist in name, which Feng Haofeng didn't want to see. However, it would be great if they could hide in the Jintian clan for a while. I'll leave it to you to decide. Bu Feng smiled. This is Senior Brother Bu. Long Yu introduced Bu Feng and said, with Senior Brother Bu's recommendation letter, no one will make things difficult for you in the Jintian clan. Thank you, Senior Brother Bu. Feng Xiaofei and the other disciples of the Feng family thanked Bu Feng gratefully. Every one of them wanted to save their master, Feng Chang'e, but none of them had the strength to do so. They could only rely on Long Yu. At this moment, Jade Pass City was in turmoil. It was indeed unsuitable for them to stay behind. If they could write a recommendation letter and introduce them to the Jintian clan, things would be much simpler. They all thought that this senior brother, Bu, must be a big shot in the Jintian clan, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't have allowed so many of them to stay temporarily in the Jintian clan just because of a recommendation letter. Since the decision was made, Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei decided to bring everyone on the road. He wrote a recommendation letter and handed it over to Feng Haofeng for safekeeping. Then, he and Long Yu bid farewell to the Feng clan. Senior Brother Bu, since there's nothing here, why don't we continue our journey through the night? After sending off the Feng clan, Long Yu said to Bu Feng, yes, your adoptive father has been captured by the assassins of the enchantment kingdom. There's no time to lose. Let's set off immediately. Bu Feng nodded solemnly. Right, many thanks to Senior Brother Bu for writing that recommendation letter. Long Yu was filled with gratitude. No need to take it to heart. Bu Feng smiled. Helping them is helping the Jintian clan. I can see that they are loyal and affectionate. In the future, if the Jintian clan is in trouble, I hope they can help us. Bu Feng had a selfish motive. He saw that Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei were very affectionate, so he wanted to befriend them. In the future, he might be able to help the Jintian clan greatly. I believe that they won't disappoint Senior Brother. Long Yu also smiled. The two did not stop at the Feng residence. Instead, they used their own methods and continued north. 1,000 miles north of Jade Pass City was the Ice Gate. Further north of the Ice Gate was the city closest to the border, Tang Pass. North of Tang Pass was the 7 Great Canyons, the only road to Gumeng. When Gumeng attacked the Tang Empire, they started from the 7 Great Canyons. The Tang Empire's Long family's major, General Long Ji, led the martial army to guard the 7 Great Canyons. Long Yu and Bu Feng traveled north through the night. Along the way, they saw many groups of martial cultivators heading towards Tang Pass. They were all people who wanted to kill the enemy and gain merit. Long Yu did not care about these people. What he was most concerned about now was the safety of his foster father, Feng Chang'e. Feng Chang'e used to be Long Zaition's deputy general. He had led the army to kill countless enemies. His relationship with Gumeng was definitely not good. Now that he was captured by Gumeng's assassins, he was most likely in danger. Of course, the other party only captured him and not assassinated him. This showed that he still had some value in their eyes. For the time being, his life should not be in danger. However, after being captured, no one knew how much torture Feng Chang'e would suffer. Foster father, if anyone dares to hurt you, I, Long Yu, will definitely kill them. Long Yu's eyes flashed with determination. Late at night, the two entered a land of ice and snow. The Ice Gate was located in a valley not far away from this land of ice and snow. By the way, Junior Brother, I heard that you killed Hua Buxi of the Ice Gate in the Ling family villa. Is that true? When they passed by the Ice Gate, Bu Feng could not help but ask. It's true. Long Yu did not deny it. It seems that with Junior Brother's current strength, you can even fight against someone at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. Bu Feng joked. Senior Brother Bu, you must be joking. The gap between us is not small. If we really fight, I definitely have no chance of winning. Long Yu shook his head. However, with that martial skill of yours that can temporarily lower a person's cultivation, there's a slight chance that you can kill someone at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. Bu Feng smiled and reminded, Junior Brother, at this time, Tang Pass is guarded by the Long family's major, General Longji. Speaking of which, that person is your cousin, but he has already reached the 4th level of the true spirit realm and has condensed his true spirit into a physical body. Major General Longji, the 4th level of the true spirit realm. N. Long Yu nodded, indicating that he understood. If we reach Tang Pass and he wants to make things difficult for you, you better not say a word. Bu Fong advised, let's just listen to orders and kill the enemy. At the same time, find out where your foster father is. All right, Long Yu nodded, but in his heart, he was wondering if the Major General Longji, who was at the 4th level of the true spirit realm, would really make things difficult for him. He remembered the golden-armored youth he met in the ancient ginseng forest. That golden-armored youth's attitude towards him was quite unfriendly. It was obvious that the Long family would not be polite to him. Long Yu, perhaps in the entire Long family of generals, his grandfather was the only one protecting him. Everything, when they reached Tang Pass, would become clear. Long Yu did not think too much about it. In a world of ice and snow, he activated the wings of the Ghost Valley and moved forward like a ray of light. At the same time, he felt the power of the half of the Lunar Heaven Tablet. The lunar chi seems to represent some kind of law of heaven and earth, just like the law of suppression. But the law contained in this heaven tablet is much stronger than the law contained in the heaven-suppressing tactics. Long Yu thought. Unfortunately, he had not been able to comprehend anything from the half of the Lunar Heaven Tablet. Along the way, Long Yu seemed to hear a mournful cry from the wings of the Ghost Valley. It was a sad and unwilling bird cry, but it always appeared inadvertently, and Long Yu could not concentrate to feel it. The combat weapon can be compatible. If I can be compatible with the wings of the Ghost Valley, I will definitely be able to make the wings of the Ghost Valley more powerful. Unfortunately, it seems to be very far away. Long Yu felt that it was a pity. The wings of the Ghost Valley were made from the feathers of the Ghost Valley demonic beasts. A large part of the demonic beasts' hatred towards humans was contained in them. For a martial cultivator to be compatible with this type of combat weapon, it was many times more difficult than to be compatible with ordinary combat weapons. The two of them moved towards the north, gradually entering the depths of the world of ice and snow. The ancient Ming Kingdom was located in the extreme north of the Tang Kingdom. It was a world of ice and snow all year round. Because of this, the ancient Ming Kingdom always sent troops to invade the Tang Kingdom, wanting to occupy some of the rich areas of the Tang Kingdom. When the sky had just brightened, the towering building in the snow, Tang Pass, gradually appeared in front of Long Yu and Bu Fong. This was an endless stretch of city walls built against the mountains, facing the 7 grand valleys of the ancient Ming Kingdom. This long and narrow pass was currently guarded by Major General Longji of the Tang Kingdom, as well as 100,000 martial soldiers of the Tang Kingdom. The Tang Kingdom's martial army was made up of at least LV-5 martial path experts. However, LV-5 and LV-6 martial path experts could only serve as scouts and vanguards. The real main force was the experts who could release Xian Qi outside their bodies. Those at LV-7 martial path were the backbone of the martial army. Those at LV-8 martial path were squad leaders, while those at LV-9 martial path were captains. As for those who had condensed their true soul, they could be called generals. Those at LV-1 true spirit realm were junior generals. Those at LV-2 true spirit realm were deputy generals, and those at LV-3 true spirit realm were generals. Long Ji, who was at LV-4 true spirit realm, was the commander of the martial army. Due to his young age, he was respectfully called Major General. Long Yu and Bu Fong, as reinforcements sent by the Jintian clan to fight against the ancient Ming Kingdom, had come to the Tang Pass to meet the commander of the martial army, Major General Long Ji. In a world of ice and snow, the two of them soon saw the Tang Pass's tens of feet high gate. At this time, there were hundreds and thousands of martial cultivators gathered at the Tang Pass's gate. They were all hot-blooded men who wanted to enter the Tang Pass and kill their enemies in the 7 Grand Canyons. However, there were thousands of people blocked at the Tang Pass's gate. They're here to help. Why aren't they allowed in? Long Yu looked at the group of people gathered at the Tang Pass's gate from afar and could not help but wonder. Maybe they're afraid of disturbing the martial army's discipline. Also, it can be seen that the battle is not intense. Otherwise, Long Ji would have already opened the gate and let these martial cultivators be cannon fodder. Bu Fong said with narrowed eyes. The two of them walked in the snow and soon arrived at the Tang Pass's gate. When the martial cultivators of the Jianghu saw the two experts who had condensed their true spirits approaching, they all opened a path for them. No one dared to stop them. Chapter 127. As Long Yu and Walking approached the gate of Tang Pass, the dense crowd of Jianghu martial cultivators made way for them. However, immediately after, a middle-aged man wearing a fur coat stood up and walked in front of Long Yu and Bu Yu. Are the two of you going into Tang Pass to fight against the ancient Meng kingdom? The middle-aged man's voice carried a hint of authority. Coupled with the determination in his eyes, one could tell that he was a tough guy. You are, but he stopped and asked. I am Qi Xiaoxua. The middle-aged man smiled and replied, I am the temporary leader that everyone elected. Unfortunately, Tang Pass does not allow us to enter. You seem to have an extraordinary cultivation, so you should be a core disciple of some sect, right? I wonder if you could ask Major General Long Ji to open the city gates and let us hot-blooded men go into battle and kill the enemy? I am afraid there is nothing we can do. Walking shook his head. How could Major General Long Ji's thoughts be changed by Walking? If Long Ji did not allow the Jianghu martial cultivators to enter, then there was nothing Walking could do. Not to mention him. Even if the leader of the Jintian clan, Bai Yunzong, came, he would not be able to change Long Ji's mind. In that case, I am sorry to disturb the two of you. This way, please. Qi Xiaoxua looked disappointed and made way for the two of them. Long Yu observed from his side. Although the middle-aged man's name was feminine, his authority was obvious. All the Jianghu martial cultivators listened to Qi Xiaoxua's orders because she was an expert at the second level of the true spirit realm. It was a pity that the gate of Tang Pass was not open, so they could only wait in the snow. Although the martial cultivators' cultivation did not allow them to freeze, such a pointless wait made them unhappy. Most of the Jianghu martial cultivators were dissatisfied and even showed it on their faces. It was just that under Qi Xiaoxua's management, they did not show it. These people wanted to fight the enemy and fight against the ancient Meng kingdom. Although they wanted to kill the enemy and be rewarded, it was still a good intention. However, Long Ji did not allow them to fight, so they felt that they had nowhere to vent their anger. Junior brother, let's go. He continued to walk forward and shouted towards the top of the city wall. The Jintian clan disciples are here to help. With these words, the gates of Tang Pass slowly opened a crack. This gap was obviously only open for Walking and Long Yu. The other martial cultivators of the Jianghu were not qualified to enter. On foot, he brought Long Yu and entered the Tang Pass through the gap. As for those Jianghu martial cultivators, they were filled with righteous indignation. They wanted to serve their country, but there was no way for them to do so. That Major General Long Ji's actions were truly outrageous. This Major General Long Ji clearly doesn't want us to steal the credit. That's why he's not letting us in. Not only that, even the core disciples of the Jintian clan came to help, but they only opened the door a little. How infuriating! If Major General Long Ji continues like this, the great Tang Empire will soon descend into civil strife without the need for the enemy to attack. Many martial cultivators of the Jianghu whispered to each other. However, under the control of Qi Xiaoxua, no one dared to speak too loudly. If these words were heard by others, it would be a great trouble. Is this Long Ji's way of showing us his strength? Long Yu walked through the gates of Tang Pass and narrowed his eyes. Opening the city gate was only a slit. To anyone, this was an absolute humiliation. Maybe. Walking's eyes flashed. As the number one core disciple of the Jintian clan, he was naturally unhappy with Long Ji's actions. However, Long Ji was the commander of the 100,000 martial cultivators of the Long clan. He was also a direct descendant of the Long clan and had reached the fourth realm of the martial path. No matter how you looked at it, walking could not compare to Long Ji. It could be said that Long Ji had enjoyed the best cultivation conditions since he was born. He had a much greater advantage than Walking and Long Yu. Even Walking was unhappy with Long Ji, but he couldn't disrespect Long Ji now. In the Great Tang Empire, the three great clans had accumulated power for a long time. Among them, the Long clan had almost complete control of the military. With a single order, they could even flatten the entire Jintian clan. After Long Yu stepped into Tang Pass, he looked around. This was a long and narrow city. In the ice and snow, all kinds of defensive equipment were piled up together. It looked cold and somber, and a bleak atmosphere greeted him. Near the city gate was the commander's hall. The commander of the 100,000 martial cultivators, Long Ji, was in the commander's hall, planning strategies and directing all the actions of the 100,000 martial cultivators. However, there were countless martial cultivators training in the Tang Pass. There shouldn't be any battles for the time being. Let's go find Long Ji. Walking turned around and walked towards the commander's hall. Long Yu followed closely behind. He saw many martial cultivators patrolling the way to the commander's hall, and they all looked vigilant. But when he saw the Jintian clan's identity token on their waists, he immediately relaxed. The two of them went straight to the commander's hall, and no one stopped them on the way. Soon, they arrived at the gate of the commander's hall. Long Yu looked into the hall and saw a young general in golden armor, carrying a long spear on his back. He was drinking with several other generals, chatting and laughing, looking extremely relaxed. The young general in golden armor looked similar to Long Yu. Naturally, he was Major General Long Ji. Long Yu appeared at the gate of the hall, and Long Ji immediately saw him. So there's a distinguished guest. Long Ji's arrogant face showed a touch of mockery. It was obvious that he could see through Long Yu's identity at a glance. The three generals beside Long Ji were also experts in the third level of the true spirit realm. When they heard Long Ji's words, they all smiled. Distinguished guest? I don't think so. He's just the son of a traitorous general. One of the bald generals said disdainfully, his words revealing a hint of flattery. It was obvious that this general was only saying this to please Long Ji. Who asked Long Ji to become the commander of the 100,000 martial cultivators at such a young age? And he was also the leader of the Long clan. In the future, Long Ji would definitely become a top expert in the Tang Empire. That's right. In the past, Long Zitian colluded with the enemy and was expelled from the Tang Empire. I'm afraid his son is not a good person. In my opinion, we should keep a close eye on him. Another person with a pair of small eyes like a fox looked at Long Yu and sneered. I didn't expect that you, as generals of the Tang Empire, would be so sarcastic to someone who wants to fight for the Tang Empire. I'm really disappointed. He stepped in and said faintly, looking at Long Ji and the three generals with an expressionless face. He had never imagined that the great general of the great Tang martial army would become such a bootlicker and fawning fellow. Who are you? How dare you be so bold? The bald general suddenly became angry. He slammed the table and stood up. He glanced at the identity token on Bufang's waist and said disdainfully, when did a core disciple of the Jintian clan become so arrogant? Arrogant? I'm just telling the truth. Bufang sneered. It seems that junior brother and I have disturbed the mood of the generals. Since that's the case, we'll take our leave. With that, he turned around to leave. Wait. Long Ji stood up and looked at Bufang with interest. You're Bufang of the Jintian clan. Although you're only at the third layer of the true spirit realm, you're not far from forming a true spirit body. Bufang looked at him indifferently and did not answer. What he hated the most was people calling him by his full name, even if it was Major General Long Ji. However, he was not strong enough, so he could only endure for the time being. Long Yu, speaking of which, you're my cousin. Long Ji turned his gaze to Long Yu and smiled. As a member of the Long family, you've only formed a true spirit body at the age of 18. You're trash. To Long Yu, this was a merciless slap in the face. With Long Yu's personality, he naturally would not stay silent. Long family? Why don't I remember that I'm from the Long family? Long Yu smiled disdainfully. Since you've chased me out of the Long family, I, Long Yu, have nothing to do with the Long family. Not now, and not in the future. This is the first time I've seen someone say that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the Long family. Interesting, interesting. Long Ji smiled faintly and looked at Long Yu, his eyes full of mockery. He thought to himself, who does this kid think he is, saying that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the Long family? What a joke. Interesting, it's indeed interesting. Long Yu also said lightly, how vast is this world? You, Long Ji, have never left the Tang Empire in your life. You're so short-sighted that you think the Long family is so noble that everyone wants to be related to the Long family? These words were not polite at all. For Long Yu, the origin of the 9 underworld dragon mark on his chest was beyond the Tang Empire. His mother, Bei Yu Yao, came from a powerful force that the Tang Empire could not match. The Long family of the Tang Empire was nothing in Long Yu's eyes. However, he still needed time to grow and was not a match for the Long family for the time being. Long Ji's eyes flashed with anger. He didn't think that Long Yu would use such words to deal with him. Of course, he knew that Long Yu's mother came from a powerful force. In comparison, the Long family was nothing. However, he didn't think that such a powerful force would recognize Long Yu. The anger in his eyes only flashed for a moment before he calmed down. Although he didn't like Long Yu, on the surface, he couldn't attack Long Yu. After all, he was a commander of the 100,000 martial army. If he attacked someone who came to help, it would have a great impact on his reputation if it was spread out. To deal with Long Yu, he could only do it from behind. Thinking of this, Long Ji didn't want to say anything more to Long Yu. This was too boring. All right, since the two of you have come to Tang Pass, you can be considered part of the Tang Empire's military for the time being. Long Ji waved his hand and said in a commanding tone, if there is a war, I hope the two of you will listen to the orders of the Tang Empire's military. Of course, but before that, I want to ask something. Long Yu stared at Long Ji and asked, Major General Long Ji, you are drinking and having fun here. It seems that there is nothing important to do. In that case, you must know the whereabouts of my adoptive father, Feng Chang'e, so you are not in a hurry? Hearing this, Long Ji was stunned. Chapter 128. Seeing Long Ji's expression, Long Yu knew that he did not take Feng Chang'e seriously at all. My godfather, Feng Chang'e, was captured by assassins from Gunming 3 days ago. I'm sure you know about this, General Long Ji? Long Yu asked. Of course I know about this. Long Ji was taken aback for a moment before he reacted. His eyes were filled with disdain. However, Feng Chang'e was only the deputy general of the rebel army. Even if he was captured by Gunming, it's not a big deal. Is that so? Long Yu sneered. Do you know what cultivation my godfather, Feng Chang'e, is at? What cultivation could that guy have? At most, he could wield the strength of an LV-8 Martial Path cultivator. The bald general said disdainfully. So you know that my godfather was severely injured when he fought against the joint army of Gunming and Donri? Long Yu asked. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He fought for the country, but not only was he severely injured, he also made enemies with many enemies, which led to him being captured. And you, the generals of the Tang Empire, are saying that it's not a big deal that he was captured by the enemy? When these words were spoken, Long Ji and the others were rendered speechless. Whether it was Long Ji, the bald general, or the fox-eyed general, none of them knew how to refute Long Yu, because what Long Yu had said was the truth. Since you're not going to look for him, I'll go myself. Long Yu sneered. This scene made him extremely disappointed in the current Tang Empire's martial army generals. Initially, he did not have much to say about Long Ji. After all, he had never met Long Ji before. It was also possible that Long Ji was someone who could lead an army in battle. But now, it seemed that other than having a high cultivation and being a descendant of the Long family, Long Ji had nothing to brag about. After saying that, Long Yu turned around and left the Hall of Commanders. Junior brother, I'll go with you. Long Ji was also disappointed in the generals. He turned around and followed Long Yu. Major General, these two people are really too presumptuous. They are completely looking down on you. The bald general's eyes were filled with rage. General Yinshan. Long Ji narrowed his eyes, and the golden armor on his body glowed with a glorious light. Don't be angry because of that brat, because soon that brat will die on the battlefield. You are right, Major General. When the bald General Yinshan heard Long Ji's words, he knew that Long Ji had already made arrangements and immediately relaxed. Otherwise, where would he put his face after being taught a lesson by Long Yu? Since that kid was about to die, there was no need to be angry with a dead person. As soon as Long Yu and Baibu left the Hall of Commanders, they received a report from their scouts. A small group of ancient Meng soldiers had invaded the first valley of the 7 Grand Valleys. In the training ground of Tangwan City, 2 deputy generals in charge of guarding immediately led a team of 1,000 people each. They were ready to set off to stop the ancient Meng Kingdom's military army. Baibu looked back at the Hall of Commanders, only to find that Long Ji did not even come out to take a look. He could not help but feel even more disdainful of Long Ji. The 2 countries were at war, and the military situation was urgent. However, Long Ji did not even pay attention to the news. General, let's go together. Baibu came to the side of the 2 deputy generals and nodded to them. With Baibu and Long Yu, 2 experts in the true spirit realm, joining them, the 2 deputy generals were naturally overjoyed. Brother, your martial realm is the highest among us. When the time comes, if there is a general-level expert, I hope that you can help. One of the deputy generals said. The deputy generals were all in the 2nd level of the true spirit realm. If they encountered a general in the 3rd level, they would naturally not be a match. Fortunately, Baibu came. As for Long Yu, they did not pay much attention to him. After all, as a deputy general, there were several 1st-level true spirit realm junior generals under him. No problem, let's go. Baibu nodded. To fight against Gu Meng, he would naturally do his best. The Wu army of the 2 deputy generals was originally training in Tang Pass. Now that there was news of the enemy, they could immediately rush to the front line. In less than a dozen breaths, the 2,000 people were assembled and reorganized. Long Yu and Baibu blended into the 2 deputy generals' formations. A total of 2,000 soldiers rode towards the valley outside of Tang Pass. In a chaotic battle, it's best to capture a few enemy generals and ask them about foster father's whereabouts. Long Yu blended in with the crowd. His heart was plotting. He could roughly guess something from Long Ji's attitude towards the battle between the 2 countries, but he could not be sure. The battle between the 2 countries this time might not be that intense. Otherwise, with Long Ji's attitude, the Tang Pass would probably be breached by the Gu Meng generals. Moreover, if it was really a large-scale battle, Long Ji would not be the only one to command 100,000 soldiers. I'm afraid there's something fishy about this battle. Long Yu continued to ponder, but he was unable to guess the truth. The only thing he could do now was to capture an enemy general and ask him about Feng Chang's whereabouts. Under the lead of 2 deputy generals at the 2nd level of the true spirit realm, the 2,000 soldiers stepped out of Tang Pass and rushed towards the first valley in the east. To the north of Tang Pass was an extremely high mountain range. It was the common border between Tang Pass and Gu Meng, a natural barrier that separated the 2 countries. Among them, only the 7 great valleys guarded by Tang Pass connected the 2 countries. The first valley was the easternmost of the 7 valleys, and also the smallest one. It was extremely narrow and could only fit a dozen people at a time, making it easy to set up an ambush. Long Yu and Baibu were in the crowd on their warhorses. Only the 2 of them did not ride on warhorses. Relying on their cultivations and the movement techniques they cultivated, it was simply as easy as taking a stroll in the courtyard as they followed the army of 2,000 martial experts. And it was even to the extent that they didn't even have to utilize the Horizon Warp and Phantom Valley wings. As soon as they reached the entrance of the first valley, the scout at the front quickly sent back a message. Deputy General. The enemy is led by a general and has 5 other deputy generals, a total of 5,000 men. This news caused the two deputy generals' expressions to change. The enemy's numbers were more than double their own. Let's go first and send someone back to ask for reinforcements. One of the deputy generals quickly made a decision and looked at Baibu. Brother, I'll leave the enemy's general to you. Do you need someone to help you? No need. Baibu was confident in his own strength. Even if he could not kill a general at the third level of the true spirit realm, the other party would not be able to stop him. In fact, the number one core disciple of each of the 7 sects in the Tang Empire was basically at the third level of the true spirit realm. However, the strength of their footwork was definitely one of the best amongst the core disciples of the 7 sects. This was because, like Long Yu, Baibu was much stronger than a martial cultivator of the same cultivation level. All right, but you must be careful. The battlefield is different from a duel. The situation can change at any moment. Seeing Baibu's confidence, the deputy general did not force him and only reminded him, if you are ambushed, you must prioritize your own life. After all, it was a senior's reminder, so Baibu took it to heart. Speaking of which, although Baibu was strong, he had never been on a battlefield before. At this moment, when he heard the 2,000 soldiers shouting in unison to raise their morale, he could not help but feel his blood boil. In comparison, Long Yu was much calmer. What kind of killing scene had he not seen before? He raised his head and looked at the valley in front of him, only to see that the first valley was indeed narrow and could only fit a dozen people walking side by side. The cliffs on both sides were so tall that the top could not be seen as it was covered in snow. This was a snow valley, but the snow had not melted. The 7 great valleys had existed for countless years. Kill! Suddenly, a roar came from the valley, followed by a third level of the true spirit realm charging out from the entrance of the valley. I'll deal with him. Seeing this, a cold light flashed in Buho's eyes. He took a step forward, using so near yet so far to attack the bearded man. It's someone from the sects. Seeing this, the bearded man was stunned for a moment before laughing out loud. Is there no one else in the Tang Empire's army? They actually let such a genius from the sects fight with me. Geniuses from the sects could be said to be the foundation of a country. Only when these geniuses grew up could they support the country. If such a young genius died on the battlefield, it would definitely be a great loss to any country. Kill. On the Tang Empire's side, there were also earth-shattering shouts. 2 deputy generals led 2,000 people into the valley. Although everyone heard that the other side had more people, the valley was so narrow. So what if they had more people? There were only a few people fighting in front of the formation. Do you want to kill the enemy? In such a scene, Long Yu suddenly felt the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand tremble. The 9 nether dragon spear was the weapon used by Long Zaiqian in the past. At this moment, it was trembling with excitement because of the battle. In that case, I'll use the lies of the ancient Ming Kingdom's army to practice my 10,000 kill spear art. Murderous intent filled Long Yu's eyes. He activated his Xianxi and immediately activated the Phantom Valley wings. He turned into a ray of light and rushed to the front of the formation. This scene caused the soldiers on both sides to be stunned. Why is that disciple from the sects so close to the front? Isn't he courting death? This kid must not know what war is. How dare he be so arrogant? That kid is the fastest. Let's kill him first. Attack! The Tang Empire's army was stunned. The ancient Ming Kingdom's army seized the opportunity and sent 2 deputy generals to kill Long Yu. Heavenly Eagle True Soul, suppress him. At this moment, Bu Fong had already clashed with the general at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. As soon as the 2 sides collided, there was a loud explosion. The ice and snow in the valley exploded, blurring the vision of the soldiers on both sides. As for Long Yu, he was not afraid of the 2 deputy generals at LV2 True Spirit Realm. Little brother, come back. The 2 deputy generals from the Tang Empire shouted. That was a genius from his sects. If he died here, they would not be able to explain themselves. Chapter 129. With the 9 nether dragon spear in hand, Long Yu faced the 2 generals of the ancient Meng kingdom, who were at the 2nd level of the true spirit realm. 10,000 kill, 1 spear strike, kill 10,000 people. Long Yu activated the 9 nether dragon seal, raising his body's basic strength to the 2nd level of the true spirit realm. Then, the 9 nether dragon spear swept out, and the spear's shadow covered the 2. This spear technique, the 2's faces changed. When they saw the 10,000 kill, they couldn't help but think of the great Tang Empire's general, Long Zai Tian. These 2 deputy generals were older and would soon reach the age of retirement. However, they never thought that they would be able to see this spear technique again in their lives. The one who used this spear technique was no longer the Long Zai Tian of the Long family, who made the ancient Ming kingdom's army tremble with fear, but a great Tang Empire's disciple who was only at the 1st level of the true spirit realm. Even so, this still shocked the 2 of them, and they were on high alert. Before they even touched it, they couldn't be sure if this was really the spear technique that Long Zai Tian had created himself. Among the 2, one of them was called Guqingji, and a stone pillar true spirit image appeared behind him. In an instant, an incomparably steady, killing intent descended. This stone pillar's true spirit phantom seemed to be one of the stronger defensive types. However, after serving in the army for 30 years, Guqingji's true spirit had killed far too many enemies. The stone pillar's true spirit phantom emanated a killing intent. Most of them were from the great Tang Empire's army. The other person was called Lu Qifeng, and the true spirit image that appeared behind him was like a hurricane, emitting a sharp killing intent that filled the entire battlefield with a murderous aura. Even when facing Long Yu, a youth at the 1st level of the true spirit realm, Guqingji and Lu Qifeng used their full strength. It could be seen that the 2 of them knew that they couldn't underestimate their enemy on the battlefield, or else they would die. This was also one of the treasures that allowed the 2 of them to survive on the battlefield until now. Kill! Guqingji shouted, and the stone pillar true spirit image behind him smashed towards the spear image that Long Yu had formed. Heaven-suppressing sun. When Long Yu saw that the other party had condensed a true spirit, he naturally would not be careless. No matter what, the 2 of them were a level higher than him, so he could not underestimate them. When the sun true spirit appeared, the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain, accompanied by the blazing light of the sun, enveloped Guqingji and Lu Qifeng. Bang! The 10,000 slaughter spear shadows that Long Yu had previously swept out had been shattered by the stone pillar's true spirit. However, when the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain descended, Guqingji and Lu Qifeng's expressions instantly changed. It was actually a domain that suppressed laws. Guqingji and Lu Qifeng looked at each other, both seeing the deep shock in each other's eyes. The person in front of him looked like he was only 18 or 19 years old, yet he could comprehend a domain of laws. This was truly a heaven-gifted genius, making others jealous. One had to know that the 2 of them had only grasped the power of heaven and earth in their entire lives. He was still unable to take the step of domain. This boy is extremely talented, and the spear in his hand is somewhat similar to Long Zaiqian's Universe Dragon Spear from 20 years ago. We must not let him go, or he will become a great enemy of my ancient Ming nation in the future. Guqingji and Lu Qifeng immediately thought so, and then the 2 of them simultaneously erupted with the power of the laws that they had comprehended. Among them, Guqingji's entire body emitted a steady aura like that of a stone, instantly resisting the pressure of Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain. As for Lu Qifeng, with a wave of his hand, a hurricane swept out. It did not resist Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain, but instead surged towards Long Yu himself. If one was sucked into this hurricane, their speed would become extremely slow. Not only that, but the circulation of Xian Qi within their bodies would also be greatly obstructed. On the battlefield, once the circulation of Xian Qi was obstructed, one would not be far from death. Suppress, break. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes, and the shadow of the Sun true spirit behind him bloomed with a brilliant light. The terrifying pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain was activated, and it directly met the hurricane and firmly blocked it. Long Yu had actually blocked 2 deputy generals at the second level of the true spirit realm by himself. This scene made the Tang Empire's martial army behind him pleasantly surprised. Originally, they had thought that Long Yu, a mere boy at the first level of the true spirit realm, would be killed in a single move, but now it seemed that the strength of this genius from the sect was actually so extraordinary. Long Yu's Sun true spirit combined with the heaven-suppressing domain that he had comprehended completely defeated the 2 deputy generals in terms of pressure. Even now, Long Yu had not used his full strength. Heaven-suppressing spear technique, layers of spear shadows. The 9 nether dragon spear in Long Yu's hand instantly glowed with a black light, and then swept out, condensing into layers of black spear shadows that attacked Lu Qifeng, who was suppressed by the heaven-suppressing domain. Retreat. Lu Qifeng's hurricane had been blocked by Long Yu, and when he saw Long Yu's spear shadows attacking him, his expression changed, and he retreated. This was a battlefield, not a duel, so he did not need to care about his reputation. In any situation that could put him in danger, it was best to retreat directly, so that he could preserve his life to the greatest extent. As Lu Qifeng hurriedly retreated, Gu Qingji also didn't stay behind. He seemed to have realized that there was no need for him to fight against Long Yu alone. Moreover, he didn't seem to be Long Yu's opponent. The 2 deputy generals quickly retreated, and soon disappeared into the Gumeng Kingdom's formation. Kill. Seeing this, Long Yu was even more unstoppable. Holding the 9 nether dragon spear, he directly killed his way into the Gumeng Kingdom's martial army. What he was thinking now was, on one hand, to kill the Gumeng Kingdom's enemy and cultivate the 10,000 kill spear technique, and, on the other hand, to find an opportunity to capture one of the enemy's generals, or at least the 2 deputy generals, and interrogate him about Feng Changa's whereabouts. If he wanted to capture Feng Changa, he had to first break the enemy's formation. He executed the 10,000 kill spear technique in his hands, sweeping across, and spear shadows flashed. Accompanied by the pressure of the heaven-suppressing field, Long Yu killed his way into the Gumeng Kingdom's formation alone, killing several people in an instant and opening up a gap in the enemy's formation. Under the terrifying pressure of the heaven-suppressing field, the Gumeng Kingdom's army could not withstand it at all. "I'll fight you." A loud roar came from the enemy's formation. In another tier, 2 true Spirit Realm deputy general rushed out from the side, trying to stop Long Yu. "Your opponent is me." At this moment, the 2 deputy generals from Great Tang had also stepped forward, standing beside Long Yu. The 2 of them faced the 2 deputy generals, and a terrifying power exploded, causing the martial cultivators who had not condensed their true spirits to retreat. This time, the Gumeng Kingdom had sent out a general and 5 deputy generals. Among them, the bearded general, who was at tier 3 True Spirit Realm, was stopped. The Stonehammer True Spirit was incomparably powerful, and it was actually on par with the Sky Eagle True Spirit. Among the 5 deputy generals, Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng retreated, and the remaining 3 were stopped by 2 deputy generals from Great Tang. The last deputy general suddenly got close to Long Yu and suddenly attacked with his saber. However, Long Yu had long sensed his opponent's killing intent. Although the battlefield was filled with killing intent, the killing intent that was aimed at him naturally made him more vigilant. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, drunk lying in the Yellow Springs, simulating the Yellow Springs path. Long Yu was already prepared for this move. He immediately punched out at the Gumeng deputy general who was slashing at him with his saber. Instantly, the deputy general was shocked by the Yellow Springs path and the 9 Nether Chi. 10,000 kill. With the 9 Nether Dragon spear in hand, Long Yu swept out and pierced through the deputy general's chest. When the deputy general regained his senses, he suddenly realized that even his heart had been shattered. A look of disbelief appeared on his face, and he fell to the ground. Long Yu had actually killed a Tier 2 true spirit realm deputy general in an instant. The death of the deputy general threw the Gu-Meng kingdom martial army into chaos. Retreat. Retreat. Orders to retreat came continuously from the Gu-Meng kingdom's formation. The bearded general, who had condensed the stone hammer true spirit, also retreated as he fought with the foot general. They're retreating just like that. Long Yu frowned, feeling that something was wrong with the situation. However, he did not stop. At this moment, he would kill as many as he could. The 10,000 kill was a spear technique that killed 10,000 people. Even though the current Long Yu had not reached this level, with his heaven-suppressing domain, a casual spear strike could shatter the heart meridians of several people. The tip of his spear was filled with killing intent. Not long after, he had killed 100 people. The 10,000 kill spear technique had finally stepped into the greater mastery realm, and its power had more than doubled. Not only that, the greater mastery realm of the 10,000 kill spear technique could condense a substantial killing intent, enveloping the opponent in battle and hindering their movements. Kill. Long Yu swept off the head of an enemy at the 9th level of the martial Dao with his spear, only to discover that the formation of the Gu-Meng kingdom martial army had completely collapsed. Most of them had already retreated towards the canyon. Haha, they can't even withstand a single blow. Foot General laughed heartily as he chased after them. However, the bearded general was always obstructing him, preventing him from killing. On the other hand, Long Yu charged left and right in the enemy's formation, taking down over 100 heads in an instant. With the formation broken, there was no need to fight anymore. At this moment, the Gu-Meng kingdom martial army retreated towards the canyon as fast as they could. Not long after, there were not many people left in the narrow first canyon, leaving only corpses. Should we chase? On the Tang Empire's side, the two deputy generals looked at each other and saw the hesitation in each other's eyes. There's no need to chase. I'm afraid there will be an ambush. Let's retreat. The two deputy generals quickly came to an agreement. However, this was not what Long Yu wanted to see. Wasn't he trying his best to break the enemy's formation to make them collapse? This way, it would be convenient for him to capture a deputy general alive and interrogate him about Feng Changa's whereabouts. Chase. Long Yu instantly made a decision. With his methods, even if he encountered an ambush, he had the ability to protect himself. The most important thing now was to find out Feng Changa's whereabouts. Long Yu had actually left the Tang Empire martial army's formation alone and rushed out of the canyon. Little brother. Chapter 130. Long Yu chased them out of the canyon. As far as the eye could see, all he could see was a forest covered in snow, with no end in sight. Thousands of Gu-Meng soldiers abandoned their helmets and armor and fled in panic. The other side only lost a deputy general, but they actually retreated just like that. The possibility of an ambush is very high. Long Yu remained vigilant as he chased forward. Very quickly, he found traces of the two deputy generals, Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng. A deputy general-level expert should know the whereabouts of foster father. Long Yu activated the Ghost Valley wings and instantly turned into a stream of light, heading in the direction that Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng had fled. Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng were somewhat flustered when they saw Long Yu chasing after them. They hurriedly ran toward a remote place, gradually moving further and further away from the direction that the Gu-Meng army was fleeing in. This scene made Long Yu even more vigilant. Looking at the strange movements of these two people, there was definitely something fishy going on. But even so, Long Yu would not let go of this good opportunity to catch them. Even if he encountered any danger that he could not resist, he had enough means to escape. Chase. A pair of white wings spread out behind Long Yu's back, making him look like a stream of light as he streaked across the snow-white sky above the forest, rapidly closing the distance between him and Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng. The two of them ran even faster, and in the blink of an eye, they had actually flashed into a small valley at the side. The small valley was covered in snow, and the forest was filled with bare tree trunks. It seemed extremely cold and desolate. Is the ambush in the valley? Long Yu made his preparations in his heart. With a flap of his wings, he glided into the small valley. His figure had just appeared when a wave of raging flames came at him, almost swallowing his entire body into the sea of flames. This is the power of the fiery, true spirit. Long Yu's heart trembled. The 9-nether dragon spear in his hand instantly swept out, accompanied by a violent heaven-suppressing domain. With great difficulty, he swept out a gap in the sea of flames in front of him. "Ha ha! I finally caught you." A familiar, arrogant laugh entered Long Yu's ears, and he immediately knew the other party's identity. The son of the hidden Fire Temple Master, young Temple Master Huofu, rank 2, True Spirit Realm. Back in the Ling family villa's mine, Long Yu had killed Xiahou Tianjia, a disciple of the Hidden Fire Hall who had already stepped into the True Spirit Secret Realm at the 9th level of the Martial Path. Most importantly, Long Yu actually snatched away the lunar fragment that he took a fancy to and even escaped without a trace right under his eyes. Because of this, Huofu had always harbored hatred in his heart. Coincidentally, when the Guming kingdom invaded, Huofu wanted to kill the enemy and gain merit. Coincidentally, he heard that Long Yu was also rushing over, so he immediately had an idea to ambush Long Yu and kill Long Yu. "Huofu, I didn't expect the dignified young temple master of the hidden fire temple of the Tang Nation to collude with the people of the Gumeng kingdom. Long Yu admire you." Long Yu laughed mockingly, his laughter filled with deep disdain. The enmity between him and Huofu was at most a grudge between sects in the Tang Nation. However, this Huofu actually colluded with the people of the Gumeng kingdom to ambush him. This could even be considered as treason. He looked around and found that the other party was hiding in the sea of fire. They had actually set up a trap in the small valley. Hearing Long Yu's mocking laughter, Huofu's figure appeared from the edge of the sea of fire. His eyes flashed with a cruel and ruthless expression, and he looked at Long Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. The winner is king, and the loser is bandit. This has been the case since ancient times. Today Long Yu, will die in the hands of me, Huofu, so Huofu, am the biggest winner. Who will investigate how I killed you?" Huofu sneered, and a bloodthirsty expression flashed in his eyes. "Now your time has come." As his voice fell, Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng, who had just escaped into the snowy valley, appeared from the side with cruel smiles on their faces. The three of them had really joined forces. The three experts at the 2nd level of the True Spirit Realm immediately surrounded Long Yu, causing the pressure on Long Yu to increase greatly. Although Long Yu had killed a deputy general at the 2nd level of the True Spirit Realm when the two countries were fighting, he had killed him with a 9-yu dragon fist while the other party was unprepared. But now, the three experts at the 2nd level of the True Spirit Realm together could fight against an ordinary person at the 3rd level of the True Spirit Realm. 3 people and 1 person were completely different concepts. When they fought, the difference was like heaven and earth. Even Long Yu did not dare to ignore them at this moment, because the other party did indeed have the ability to kill him, unless he revealed the trump card of the 9-yu dragon's true spirit. However, this place was not far from where the two armies were fighting. If Long Yu revealed his trump card, who knew who would be spying on him? If the news of him condensing the 2nd true spirit were to spread, then there would be even more people in the great Tang Empire who would want to kill him. No matter what, I can only go all out, Long Yu thought to himself, his eyes filled with seriousness. All right, let's make our move. He's just a brat who has just stepped into the True Spirit Realm. With the 3 of us working together, we can easily capture him. Lu Qifeng smiled sinisterly, condensing the True Spirit hurricane behind him, and was about to sweep toward Long Yu. "Thief, how dare you attack?" Suddenly, an unruly laugh, accompanied by the cry of the heaven-suppressing eagle, came from outside the small valley. An incomparably terrifying pressure of suppressing the heavens descended from the sky, instantly enveloping Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng. Senior Brother Bu. Long Yu was overjoyed when he saw this. He had actually come on foot. Although he would not die here, even if he did not come on foot, it would still make things much more convenient. It's me. A figure wearing black tight-fitting clothes appeared behind Long Yu and walked over. The image of the heavenly eagle, true spirit, appeared behind him, emitting a pressure that could suppress the heavens. It completely enveloped Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng, causing their expressions to change. They were no match for an expert at the third level of the true spirit realm. Senior Brother Bu, where is the general of the ancient Ming kingdom? Long Yu stood side by side with Bu and asked. He has already retreated. I was worried about your safety, so I chased after you. I didn't expect there to be something fishy about this. Bu's sharp eyes immediately stared at Huafu. Huafu, young Hall Master of the Hidden Fire Temple, I didn't expect you to collude with the people of the ancient Ming kingdom to assassinate my junior brother Long Yu. This is a crime of treason. Cut the crap. I must burn this kid to death today. Huafu had a cruel expression on his face. He did not care about what Bu was saying at all. He stared at Long Yu and said, Brat, you should be honored. In order to deal with you, I borrowed a high-grade spiritual combat weapon from my father, the Flame Explosion Jade Talisman. You should be satisfied to die under a high-grade spiritual combat weapon. As he spoke, a flaming jade talisman appeared in Huafu's hand. He activated his profound qi and immediately ignited a burst of flames. A high-grade spiritual combat weapon. Long Yu's expression changed slightly. A high-grade spiritual combat weapon was at the same level as the Qianlong spear. Its power was naturally extraordinary. Moreover, Huafu was an expert at the second level of the true spirit realm. His basic strength was already much stronger than Long Yu's. If he used this high-grade spiritual combat weapon and the Flame Explosion Jade Talisman, it would definitely be extraordinary. Kill. With the Flame Explosion Jade Talisman in his hand, Huafu charged toward Long Yu. When Bu saw him take out the Flame Explosion Jade Talisman, he also frowned slightly. Just as he was about to block it, Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng, who were beside him, suddenly made their moves, trying to hold him back. Hurricane, stop him! Lu Qifeng shouted loudly. The hurricane true spirit behind him resisted the pressure of the heavens, suppressing great power, and swept toward Bu. Stone Pillar, intimidate. The phantom of the stone pillar appeared behind Gu Chengji and rammed toward Bu from another direction. The basic strength of the two combined was comparable to Bu's. Facing a pincer attack from the two, Bu really could not ignore them. Heavenly Eagle, suppress. Bu coldly snorted. With a flip of his hand, the phantom of the Heavenly Eagle behind him immediately flew toward the phantom of the stone pillar. As for himself, he used the spirit realm martial skill, Soul Stirring Fist, and punched toward Lu Qifeng's Hurricane True Spirit. The battle of the three true spirits was hair-raising. Even if Bu's strength was tyrannical, he could not gain the upper hand against Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng, two veterans of the battlefield. On the other side, Huafu and Long Yu also quickly began fighting. Flame Explosion Jade Talisman. Fire of the three spirits, explode. With the Flame Explosion Jade Talisman in hand, Huafu's entire body emitted flames. Accompanied by the pressure of the flame true spirit, three terrifying flames instantly attacked from three different directions from Long Yu, exploding in midair. It's the spirit realm middle grade martial skill of the Fire Concealment Palace. Seeing this, Long Yu felt the power contained in the three explosions, and his expression became incomparably solemn. The power of these three explosions was impossible for him to withstand with his current strength. Ghost Valley Wings, activate. The Xianqi in Long Yu's body surged, and at the same time he activated the Ghost Valley Wings, he displayed the Ghost Flash martial skill. His body turned into Ghost Qi, and he actually increased his speed to the limit. Like an extremely fast stream of light, Long Yu's figure darted out from the gap between the explosions of the three spirits' fire, and he actually dodged Huafu's attack. So fast. Huafu's face also revealed a solemn expression. He could see that the pair of white wings on Long Yu's back was definitely a powerful weapon that did not lose to the flame explosion jade talisman in his hand. Otherwise, Long Yu would not have been able to dodge the explosion of his three spirits' fire. However, speed alone was nothing to Huofu. No matter how fast you are, I will cover the whole world in flames. Let's see where you can run. Ruthlessness flashed in Huofu's eyes, and he immediately activated the flame explosion jade talisman in his hand. Countless fire lines rapidly appeared from the flame explosion jade talisman, and then immediately spread out in all directions. In a flash, these fire lines actually spread out like a spider web, covering the sky, and then wrapped around Long Yu. This move is the strongest martial skill of the Fire Concealment Palace, Fire Spider Web Entanglement. When Huofu displayed this move, his eyes burst with strong confidence. This move, Long Yu definitely cannot dodge. Chapter 131. When the fire spider silk wrapped around Long Yu, he could clearly feel the violent power contained in the fire spider silk. Even if I'm touched by a single flame spider silk, I'm afraid it'll burn me to ashes. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He knew that he was in a life and death situation. One mistake, and he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Huofu used the fire spider silk, and the entire sky was filled with fire spider silk. Even if Long Yu used the method he used just now, he would not be able to escape from the complicated gaps. He could only fight it out. Heaven suppressing sun, suppress for me. A shadow of the sun true spirit appeared behind Long Yu, and a burst of scorching light that contained boundless heaven suppressing pressure shone in the surroundings. Under the pressure of the sun's true spirit, the flame spider silk began to slow down one after another. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, Reincarnation Awakening. Long Yu punched out, his eyes flashing. A terrifying reincarnation power immediately enveloped Huofu, as if it wanted to send him into reincarnation, causing the Xian Qi in his body to churn. Huofu felt the power in Long Yu's punch, and his expression changed. What kind of martial skill was that? He could feel that his martial Dao realm had fallen to the first level of the true spirit realm. His heart trembled, and the Xian Qi in his body churned. He was unable to control the fire spider silk, and Long Yu found an opening. 10,000 kill break. Long Yu swept the 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand, and a thick killing intent spread out, instantly sweeping away the fire spider silk that had lost control. Right now, you are the same as me, only at level 1 of the true spirit realm. Long Yu's eyes flashed coldly, and he quickly attacked Huofu. In terms of weapons, you are inferior to me. In terms of martial skills, you are inferior to me. In terms of comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth, you are inferior to me. How can you kill me? 9 Nether Dragon Fist, drunk lying in the yellow springs. Just when Huofu was frightened that his martial arts realm had fallen, Long Yu took the opportunity to break the fire spider silk entanglement, and then a punch simulated the road to the underworld, leaving Huofu stunned on the spot. 9 Serenity's explosion kill. Long Yu slammed his fist on the snowy ground and immediately urged the undercurrent of the yellow springs to surge. It condensed into a pillar of netherworld chi that rose up and enveloped Huofu within it. Huofu, a second-ranked true spirit realm expert, dead. This time, Long Yu did not use the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit. Instead, he only used the second technique of the 9 underworld's dragon fist, Samsara Awakening Palm. Right now, Long Yu's comprehension of the Samsara Awakening Palm was only at the beginner level. But even so, this move displayed a terrifying power. Before Huofu died, he was still confused. Why did his martial arts realm fall? The martial skill cultivated by this Long Yu was simply too frightening. However, before he could finish his thoughts, the 9 Serenity's explosion engulfed him and annihilated him. From a moment Huofu used the fire spider silk entanglement to the moment he was engulfed by the 9 Serenity's explosion, only a split second had passed. The reversal of the situation was unimaginably fast. This scene caused the expressions of Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng, who were fighting on the side, to change. This Long Yu was clearly only at the first rank of the true spirit realm. But how could he so easily kill Huofu, who had a high-grade spirit-level combat weapon? Moreover, Huofu had clearly used the Fire Spider Silk Entanglement, but this high-grade spirit-level martial skill was still unable to deal with Long Yu. This caused Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng to lose their fighting spirit. Good job, junior brother. Bu Fu laughed. He had guessed correctly. His junior brother Long Yu could easily deal with Huofu alone. Since that was the case, he could not fall behind, lest others laugh at him. People of the enemy nation, kill. The heavenly eagle, true spirit behind Bu Fu let out a sharp cry, followed by a burst of heaven's suppressing aura, firmly suppressing Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng. Run! Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng looked at each other, knowing that if they did not run now, it would be too late. The two of them used all their strength to resist Bu Fu's heaven-suppressing aura, wanting to escape from the small valley. However, at this moment, a large group of people suddenly appeared at the entrance of the snowy valley. It's the Gumeng Deputy General Kill. A cold voice entered the ears of everyone present, followed by a terrifying killing intent that enveloped Gu Chengji and Lu Qifeng. The two of them were just about to run for their lives. But who would have thought that so many people would suddenly appear at the entrance of the small valley? In just a single exchange, the two of them were killed at the entrance of the snowy valley, their blood dyeing the white snow bright red. In the small valley, Long Yu and Bu Fu both looked back and saw that the person who gave the order was the commander of the Tang Empire's 100,000 martial army, Major General Long Ji. At this moment, Long Ji was wearing a suit of golden armor, looking majestic as he stood in front of the corpses of Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng. He swept his gaze across the small valley, stopping at the corpse of Long Yu and Huofu not far away, and narrowed his eyes. Long Yu colluded with the Gumeng Deputy General and killed the Hidden Fire Temple's young master of the Great Tang Empire. He must be punished with death. Long Ji snorted coldly and immediately gave the order. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Long Yu and Bu Fu changed. Major General, the person who colluded with the Gumeng Deputy General is Huofu. Bu Fu stepped forward and stopped in front of Long Yu and said coldly. Of course, he could see at a glance that Long Ji also wanted to kill Long Yu, so he just happened to arrive at this time. This entire series of events, and even the battle between the two countries in the canyon, were very likely all planned by Long Ji, all for the sake of killing Long Yu. Are you the commander, or am I the commander? Long Ji looked at Bu Fu coldly and waved his hand. General Yin Shan, General Ma Shirley, you two hold the line for me. Long Yu actually betrayed the country like his father. I, Long Ji, must kill him with my own hands. Yes, Major General. The bald general and the fox-eyed general behind him obeyed the order. These two were experts at level 3 of the true spirit realm, and they were generals in the army. The bald general was called Yin Shan, and the fox-eyed general was called Ma Shirley. Just now, Gu Qingji and Lu Qifeng were killed by these two generals. Treason, only death awaits. Long Ji's eyes revealed a cold smile as he looked at Long Yu. The snow on the ground reflected the light from his golden armor, making him look extraordinary. He had just taken a step towards Long Yu when Bu Fu reacted. Major General, I have evidence to prove that the person who colluded with Gumeng is Huofu. Bu Fu said coldly. When he first arrived, he had secretly formed the imprint of true spirit and recorded the scene from the beginning. This was enough to prove that Huofu and the Deputy General of Gumeng were colluding. Is that so? Long Ji smiled with interest. You are so protective of the traitor Long Yu. Could it be that you are also involved in this matter? Major General, leave this person to us. The bald Yin Shan and the small-eyed Ma Shirley immediately walked out and surrounded Bu Fong from both sides. Both of their eyes flashed with ridicule. A mere level 3 true spirit realm disciple dared to fight with Major General Long Ji? What wishful thinking! Being surrounded by two generals, Bufu felt the pressure on him increase. He felt that if he made a move, they would attack him without hesitation. At this moment, Long Ji finally took a step forward and turned into a golden bolt of lightning. Long Yu only saw a flash of gold and knew that things were not good. Long Ji, if you want to kill me, then come and try. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes as he swept the 9 Nether Dragon spear in his hand. Nether Dragon leap. With the help of the spear, he leaped hundreds of feet into the air above the valley. Then, he leaped again and tried to escape from the back of the valley. Facing the sure kill trap set by Long Ji, Long Yu simply did not have any possibility of resisting. At this very moment, Long Yu could only escape. This was the only path he could take. Where do you think you're going? Long Ji's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he turned into a golden ray of light and chased after Long Yu. As a terrifying expert who had condensed his true spirit into a physical body, Long Ji's speed was naturally faster than Long Yu's. In an instant, Long Ji chased after Long Yu and crossed the mountain wall of the valley. Seeing Long Yu running away, he could not help but sneer. Let's see how long you can run. Long Ji's body emitted a murderous intent as he chased after Long Yu. The two of them quickly went deep into the territory of enchantment country. In the snowy valley, Bufu was being watched by 2 generals at level 3 True Spirit Realm. At this moment, he could not help Long Yu. His heart was filled with anxiety. He never imagined that Long Ji would actually disregard everything and set up such a sure kill trap, wanting to kill Long Yu no matter what. Logically, there should be no hatred between the two of them, right? Of course, in the Long family, other than Long Yu's grandfather, no one else liked Long Zaition. Naturally, they did not like Long Zaition's son, Long Yu. However, Bufu did not expect the other party to act so quickly. He thought that the Long family was one of the top 3 families in the Tang Empire, and that the descendants of the Long family should have a certain demeanor. However, he was completely disappointed today. The Long family of the generals is really good. Bufu's face was gloomy. First, he contacted the deputy general of ancient Meng country and used benefits to lure him into an ambush with Huofu in this small snowy valley to kill Long Yu. Even if he could not kill him, Long Ji would immediately be able to frame Long Yu with a charge of treason. In this way, even if Long Yu did not die, he would not be able to return to the Tang Empire. However, Long Yu would not give up just like that. Bufu had enough confidence in Long Yu's methods. He had been observing Long Yu's growth and found that he was growing very fast. These days, there were too many people who wanted Long Yu to die. However, Long Yu had survived until now and even became more courageous as he fought, entering the True Spirit Realm at an extremely fast speed. Even if he was being chased by Long Ji now, he should not die so easily. He might even be able to turn things around. When the Jintian clan's Wu Jianxin caused trouble, didn't Long Yu do the same? Junior brother, I will keep the spiritual inscription seal for you. No matter when, as long as you return, I will release the evidence to the public and clear your treason. Chapter 132. In a vast expanse of snow, the pure white snow did not leave behind any footprints of Long Yu sprinting. A pair of white wings flapped on his back, causing him to turn into a white ray of light. He floated forward in the snow at an extremely fast speed. However, the golden ray of light chasing after him was even faster than him, and carried with it an endless amount of power. Wherever it went, the white snow flew up and melted. If this continues, I will be caught sooner or later. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He felt the dragon pole behind him getting closer and closer. He could only try to fuse with the wings of the Ghost Valley. Previously, he had successfully fused with the Blizzard Boots. However, at this time, the Blizzard Boots grade was too low, and it had almost no effect on increasing his speed. However, if he could fuse with the wings of the Ghost Valley, then he would definitely be able to increase his speed to another level. However, the wings of the Ghost Valley were made from the wings of a demonic beast that was killed by a human martial artist. The entire wings of the Ghost Valley were filled with hatred towards human martial artists. Under such circumstances, Long Yu could not find any way to fuse with the wings of the Ghost Valley at all. Just as he was thinking about this, the half-piece of the lunar heaven tablet that he had hidden in his chest suddenly changed. It emitted a thick and cold lunar chi that wrapped around the wings of the Ghost Valley behind him. Long Yu's expression changed slightly. Ever since he had obtained the lunar heaven tablet, he had never seen the lunar heaven tablet move on its own. Now, it was releasing the lunar chi to wrap around the wings of the Ghost Valley. The pair of white wings of the Ghost Valley was dyed gray by the lunar chi. It was no longer as beautiful as it was before, and instead became less eye-catching. However, this way, the nature of the wings of the Ghost Valley had completely changed. Originally, the wings of the Ghost Valley was only a supreme spirit-level combat weapon, and the weapon refining formation on it had been destroyed. Most importantly, it was filled with the hatred of the Ghost Valley envoy towards human martial artists and was extremely difficult to fuse with. Now, the wings of the Ghost Valley had become the wings of the moon. The hatred from the Ghost Valley envoy had been completely dispelled by the lunar chi and no longer existed. At this moment, the lunar wings had already become a top-ranked spirit tier combat weapon. Not only was it a grade higher than before, there were even some black patterns engraved on its surface. It's the black vein pattern, the aura of the netherworld. Seeing this, Long Yu immediately understood something. The change in the lunar heaven steel wasn't because of the lunar heaven steel, but because of the 9 underworlds dragon mark on his chest. A strand of netherworld chi activated the lunar heavenly steel and released the lunar chi, causing the Ghost Valley wings to transform. Furthermore, the netherworld patterns were carved on the transformed lunar wings. These 9 nether runes were exactly the same as the ones on the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand. 9 nether pattern, activate. Long Yu didn't hesitate in the slightest to pour his profound energy into the netherworld markings on the lunar wings, and he activated the black markings that covered the entire pair of gray wings. Instantly, the lunar wings that had advanced to the top-ranked spirit tier exploded with a powerful force, causing Long Yu's entire body to become extremely light. Although it still wasn't compatible with the lunar wings, his speed in the snow was more than twice as fast as before. The pair of gray wings emitted a faint and strange aura of the netherworld, causing Long Yu's entire body to turn into a streak of gray light mixed with black vein patterns, and he quickly disappeared from Long Ji's sight. This scene caused Major General Long Ji, who was chasing after him, to be stunned. Just as he was about to catch up to Long Yu and kill this kid who had been labeled as a traitor, in the blink of an eye, this kid suddenly erupted with a speed that was even faster than him. How is this possible? This kid has clearly just stepped into the true spirit realm, but I have already condensed my true spirit into a physical body. Long Ji's eyes were filled with shock. However, he had finally made it this far, so of course he wouldn't let Long Yu escape so easily. Blood Dragon True Spirit, appear, Long Ji shouted, and immediately after, the true spirit of a blood-red dragon instantly condensed behind him. This blood-red dragon was not an illusion, but had already condensed into a physical body. It was like a blood dragon demonic beast, and it appeared behind Long Ji with a roar. The blood dragon art was the mental cultivation method that the Long family of the General Clan cultivated. The reason why the Long family of the General Clan could become one of the top 3 families of the Great Tang Nation was because of this blood dragon art. After cultivating the blood dragon art, one would be able to comprehend the law of massacre. Because of this, the Long family of the General Clan mostly carried a thick murderous aura, and they were decisive on the battlefield. When the blood dragon True Spirit appeared behind Long Ji, his entire person was like a god of death. His speed suddenly increased, and the pure white snow along the way melted, turning into a blood-red stream of water. As the blood dragon True Spirit roared, Long Yu, who was fleeing in front, was completely shocked. This is a true spirit that has condensed into a physical body. Long Yu could feel the murderous pressure coming from behind him, and Long Ji's figure was getting closer and closer. His face could not help but darken. If this continued, it seemed that he would have to condense the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds to have a chance of survival. Although Long Ji's blood dragon true spirit exuded endless murderous aura, and it was more than a level stronger than the true spirits that Long Yu had seen before, if he really had to compare, it was definitely not a match for Long Yu's dragon of the 9 underworlds. This kind of comparison was not based on the power that each true spirit possessed, but the grade of each true spirit. Just like in the Heavenly Mandate continent, there were grades for weapons, and there were grades for martial arts techniques. The true spirits that martial arts cultivators condensed must also be divided into different grades. Most of the true spirits that Long Yu had seen before were of the most ordinary level, including his Sun True Spirit, the Walking Sky Eagle True Spirit, and even the White Cloud True Spirit of the Long Spear True Spirit. However, at this moment, the Blood Dragon True Spirit that Long Ji had condensed was a level higher than these true spirits. As for the second true spirit that Long Yu had, the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds, it was many levels higher than all the true spirits that he had seen before. The true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds seemed to be beyond this continent. As for the grade of the true spirits, Long Yu was still unable to come into contact with it. In the end, it was because his martial arts realm and strength were too weak. Usually, the people that he met and interacted with had no concept of the grade of the true spirits. After all, in the entire Tang Empire, except for the top 3 families, the true spirits that all the martial arts cultivators condensed were the most basic grade. Otherwise, how could the royal Chu family, the Long family of the generals, and the Mo family of the Xiang family be the top 3 families of the Tang Empire? These thoughts flashed through Long Yu's mind in an instant. Just as Long Ji was getting closer and closer to Long Yu, and just as he was about to condense the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds, there was suddenly a cry of killing coming from the front. What's going on? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He raised his head and looked ahead. As he sprinted, a snow valley appeared in front of him. Behind that snow valley, a dense army of ancient Ming kingdom warriors suddenly appeared. The leader of the army was only wrapped in a fur coat. He was wild like a wild man and exuded an incomparably tyrannical aura. He was actually an expert in the rank 4 martial path. This person had led the army of ancient Ming and was lying in ambush behind the snow valley. When he saw Long Ji, his eyes lit up. It really is Tang Empire's Major, General Long Ji. Haha, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The madman laughed. I didn't think that the rumored Long Ji would be so useless. He even condensed the true spirit of the blood dragon to chase after a kid who has just entered the true spirit realm. What a joke, what a joke. As soon as he finished speaking, a violent aura erupted from his body. Following that, a true spirit of the mad axe appeared behind him. Just like Long Ji's true spirit of the blood dragon, it was not an illusion, but a real one. However, Long Yu could sense that the true spirit of the madman's mad axe was of the same grade as an ordinary person's true spirit. It was not as powerful as the true spirit of the blood dragon. It seemed that even though this madman called Man Xian had the same martial path realm as Long Ji, he would not be a match for Long Ji in a real battle. Man Xian, Long Ji, who was wearing golden armor, saw the figure of the madman in beast hide from afar, and his expression changed. He was not afraid of Man Xian in a one-on-one fight, but the army of ancient Ming behind Man Xian was a great threat to him. No matter how high one's martial path realm was, the Xian Qi in one's body would eventually be depleted. Against an army of thousands, even Long Ji couldn't kill them all. Since he is someone that Long Ji wants to kill, let's let him pass. Man Xian laughed wildly. The true spirit of the mad axe behind him released a gust of wind that swept him in Long Ji's direction, brushing past Long Yu. Everyone, surround Long Ji. Following Man Xian's order, several third-layer True Spirit Realm generals and second-layer True Spirit Realm deputy generals followed Man Xian and charged at Long Ji. One of the generals was Big Beard, who had fought with Long Ji earlier. He condensed a true spirit image of a stone hammer and charged at Long Ji. It seemed that Man Xian had received news of Big Beard's arrival, which was why he had set up an ambush here. As for the rest of the ancient Ming Kingdom's LV9 Martial Path warriors, they all came out of the Snow Valley and circled around Long Ji in an instant. When Long Yu saw the few generals of the ancient Ming Kingdom brushing past him, he was astonished. No way, these people from ancient Ming are really not going to attack me? It seems that Man Xian has a lot of enmity with Long Ji. Could it be that the enemy of an enemy is a friend? Is that why they are not going to attack Long Yu? In any case, Long Yu did not want to get involved in a battle of this level. The wings on his back drew out a grayish-black stream of light, carrying him quickly into the snowy valley. At the same time, he used the Dark Dragon Leap, leaping 1,000 feet in one leap. Soon, he was far away from the snowy valley where the battle had already begun. He had already gone deeper into ancient Ming's territory. However, this was all because of Long Ji. Now that Long Yu was carrying the crime of treason, there was no way he could return to Great Tang. Let's think of a way to find my godfather first. Long Yu did not lose his direction. From the very beginning, when he wanted to come to the battlefield where the two armies were fighting, he had a clear goal. That was to save Feng Chang'e. Although it was an accident that he had fallen into Long Ji's trap, he did not take it to heart. With a 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, he could quickly raise his Martial Path realm no matter where he was. Chapter 133. Long Yu ran deep into the ancient Ming country and soon arrived at the top of a huge snowy mountain. It is said that more than 100,000 soldiers of the ancient Ming country are stationed in this snowy mountain. If I can capture one of them, I might be able to sneak in. Long Yu thought to himself. He was already familiar with this kind of behavior. There would always be many patrols near the army's tents. For Long Yu, the first thing he needed to do was to find a patrol team. Long Yu quietly entered the snowy mountain and moved forward from a hidden corner. Not long after, he saw a small team of ancient Ming country soldiers patrolling in front of him. However, there were 8 people in this team, but none of them had condensed a true spirit. It doesn't seem appropriate to attack this patrol team. I can't disguise myself as one of them and sneak into the enemy's camp to find my foster father's whereabouts. Long Yu thought to himself as he turned around and left without alerting anyone. After searching for a long time, he finally found a patrol team led by a small general at the first stage of the True Spirit Realm. There were a total of 12 people in the team, and other than the small general, the rest were all at the 8th and 9th stage of the Martial Path. All the warriors of the ancient Ming Kingdom were wearing armors that were the color of animal skin. But, of course, a lower-ranked mortal weapon like this was no match for Long Yu. Long Yu carefully surveyed the terrain and made sure that there were no other patrol teams nearby before he decided to make his move. If it was someone else, they would not be able to kill these 12 people without making a sound. However, it was a piece of cake for Long Yu. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, drunk lying in the Yellow Springs. Long Yu gathered the 9 Nether Chi and suddenly punched out. In an instant, a Yellow Springs road appeared and enveloped the 12 people in it. Under the corrosion of the 9 Nether Chi, the 12 people were stunned on the spot. 10,000 kill. Long Yu swept out with the 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand, filled with killing intent. Layers of spear shadows instantly enveloped the opponents. In an instant, all 12 people died under the 9 Nether Dragon Spear. Even the little general who was also at the first rank of the True Spirit Secret Realm, like Long Yu, died under the 10,000 kill spear art without any chance to resist. Immediately after, Long Yu's spear stabbed into the snow, and the terrifying force created a deep pit in the snow. Then, he buried the corpses of 11 of them into the snow pit, temporarily destroying the corpses and erasing all traces. Long Yu took off his own clothes and threw them into the snow pit as well. He then took off the clothes of the first stage of the true spirit realm, as well as the token that represented his identity, and buried the corpse into the snow pit. Right now, my identity is this little general's asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I'll find a chance to sneak into the enemy camp. After doing all this, Long Yu finally headed towards the center of the Great Snow Mountain. The camp of the ancient Ming Kingdom's Wu army was located in a snowy mountain valley not far away. They relied on a mountain peak to resist the biting cold wind. Only by doing so could the Wu army have a good rest. Long Yu dressed up as the little general's asterisk, 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 and quickly headed towards the central valley. Along the way, many people saw that he was in a hurry, but they ignored him. This was because the ancient Ming Kingdom's Wu army had a total of more than 100,000 people. At a glance, it was impossible to tell that Long Yu was not from the ancient Ming Kingdom's Wu army. Soon, he arrived at the entrance of the valley in the middle of the snowy mountain. The ancient Ming Kingdom's Wu army had built 2 sentry towers on a mountain peak near the entrance of the valley. The entrance of the valley was surrounded by a sturdy wooden fence, and the mountain walls around the valley became a natural barrier for the camp. This valley was easier to defend than the entire Tang Pass stronghold. Long Yu was expressionless as he wore the bronze warrior armor and walked towards the camp's gate in the middle of the fence. "Stop! Hand over your token." On both sides of the camp's gate stood 2 rows of guards at the 9th rank of the martial path. There were more than 100 of them guarding the gate, and the one leading them was a general at the 3rd rank of the true spirit secret realm. The camp's gate couldn't be neglected, so it was normal for the ancient Ming Kingdom's Wu army to send a general to guard it. When this rude and unreasonable general shouted at Long Yu, asking him to hand over his waist token, Long Yu did not panic. Before this, he had already observed this area and knew that most people had to show their waist tags to enter the camp. "I am Hu Jing, in charge of patrolling. I have discovered an unusual situation and have something to report." Long Yu deliberately made his voice sound hoarse and majestic. At the same time, he seemed to be in a sorry state. Then he showed Hu Jing's token. "All right, you may enter." The general only glanced at it and waved his hand, letting Long Yu go. It was common for the patrolling team to report something. The general was only guarding the gate, so he didn't need to worry about it. Sometimes some ferocious demonic beast would appear in the Great Snow Mountain and wipe out the patrol team in one fell swoop. At this moment, he saw that there were some bloodstains on Long Yu's armor and guessed that he had encountered a demonic beast. The patrol team had all died. Regarding this matter, the general could only look down on it. The martial cultivators of the patrol team were getting weaker and weaker. However, he couldn't say anything. After all, his duty was to guard the gate. This kind of casualty was not under his control, and he didn't want to pay attention to it, lest he got into trouble. Because Long Yu was only at the 1st rank of the true spirit secret realm, he was able to easily fool the general guarding the gate. If Long Yu was at the 2nd rank of the true spirit secret realm, then things wouldn't be so simple. This was because the deputy generals at the 2nd rank of the true spirit secret realm would not patrol. Furthermore, there were fewer deputy generals, so the general might recognize them. If it was someone at the 1st stage of the true spirit realm, it would be impossible for them to kill the members of the patrol team without making a sound. Once they were alerted, it would be even more difficult to sneak in. In any case, Long Yu managed to sneak into the ancient Ming country's camp. This camp is really big. I wonder where Godfather is now. Long Yu observed his surroundings without batting an eyelid, before running towards the depths of the camp. Very quickly, he disappeared from the eyes of the arrogant general guarding the gate. The entire valley of the Great Snow Mountain was bigger than Tang Pass City. There were no less than 1,000 military tents, so it would be a waste of time to search them one by one. Right now, Long Yu didn't dare to waste any time because he didn't know Feng Chang's condition. It was very likely that if he was even a little slower, he would make a huge mistake. He found a hiding place and suddenly grabbed an ancient Ming country martial cultivator at the 8th rank of the martial path. He covered his mouth and dragged him behind a pile of junk to hide. "Don't move, or I'll kill you." Long Yu's warning stopped the martial cultivator from moving. His eyes were filled with fear. He was only in the 8th rank of the martial path, but he could sense that the person holding him was a junior general who had already condensed his true spirit. Although he didn't know what Long Yu's motive was, he didn't dare to speak carelessly. "Let me ask you a question. Answer me honestly, or I'll take your life." Long Yu warned again before he asked, "Do you know Feng Chang'e?" The martial cultivator was slightly taken aback when he heard that. He then stretched out his hand and pointed in a direction not far away. In that direction was the largest tent in the camp. "You mean Feng Chang'e is in that tent?" Long Yu asked sternly as he tightened his grip on the martial cultivator's neck. "Woo woo woo." The martial cultivator hurriedly nodded. "Very well." Long Yu's eyes flickered coldly as he gathered his strength and broke the martial cultivator's neck. The martial cultivator did not expect Long Yu to make his move so quickly. His eyes were filled with disbelief as his head tilted to one side and fell to the ground. Long Yu tossed the corpse into the pile of junk and left. He wasn't afraid that someone would discover the corpse. Even if someone did, who would know that he was the culprit? Soon, he arrived near the largest tent in the entire camp, and as if he was patrolling, he walked around the large tent. There were quite a number of junior generals patrolling the camp, so no one would notice his presence in a short period of time. Following this, he began to inspect the situation inside the tent. The commander of the army should be in the biggest tent. I wonder what kind of martial realm the commander has reached. Long Yu thought in his heart. Very quickly, he discovered that there were actually only 2 people in the huge tent. Apart from them, there were only 2 deputy generals standing guard at the entrance of the tent. This made Long Yu afraid to appear at the entrance of the tent, much less look inside. He could only pretend to be patrolling around the back of the tent. And one of the 2 people in the tent was really his foster father, Feng Chang'e. "Chang'e, although it has been many years, I still feel a little guilty. If Brother Long and I hadn't sent a messenger pigeon, he wouldn't have been caught and exiled from the Great Tang for treason." Sigh. An old but spirited voice entered Long Yu's ears. Although the voice was soft, he could still hear it clearly. Just this sentence alone was enough to surprise Long Yu. His foster father, Feng Chang'e, was actually calmly discussing something with the enemy commander in the ancient Meng tent. Could the Brother Long that the old voice mentioned be referring to Long Zaiqian? Long Yu immediately focused his attention. "Old General Man, you can't be blamed for this matter." Feng Chang'e sighed and then said, "Even without the message from you and General Long, they would have found some other reason to expel General Long. General Long is hated and envied in the Great Tang and is being targeted by the Sacred Institute. At this moment, no one knows where he is." Sacred Institute? This was the first time Long Yu had heard of this name, and this so-called Sacred Institute had even targeted his father, Long Zaiqian. Could it be that the powerful faction that my mother, Bei Yu Yao, belongs to is called the Sacred Institute? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. Listening to the conversation between Feng Chang'e and the old general called Man Yi, he knew that although this old general was from the ancient Ming kingdom, he had some friendship with his father, Long Zaiqian. Long Yu was just about to continue listening when a sudden change occurred. Alarm after alarm sounded from the entrance of the camp, and the entire camp fell into chaos. Assassination. Protect the general. The entire Gumeng army camp was filled with cheers and shouts. With a snake-like laugh, a beautiful figure appeared in Long Yu's line of sight. With a casual wave of her hand, she killed the 2 deputy generals guarding the entrance of the largest tent. "It's Yu Qianing." Long Yu fell into a daze when he saw that beautiful figure. Chapter 134. When Long Yu saw Yu Qianing, he immediately hid behind the tent to prevent himself from being discovered. He was wearing the bronze armor of the ancient Ming Kingdom's junior general. Yu Qianing didn't care about his identity because her priority right now was to assassinate the old general of the ancient Ming Kingdom. Yu Qianing has actually reached the 4th stage of the martial path. Long Yu could clearly sense that Yu Qianing's cultivation was on par with Long Ji's. However, Yu Qianning was only in the 8th stage of the martial path back at the ancient ginseng forest. How could she have improved faster than Long Yu in such a short period of time? Could it be that she had been hiding her strength from the very beginning? When the powerful Yu Qianning barged into the camp of the ancient Meng kingdom, no one could stop her. The 2 generals guarding the tent were killed by her in one move. Old General Man, your son Man Xin has gone to fight Long Ji. I like to see who else can protect your life. Yu Qianning's voice was filled with viciousness as she entered the tent. Following that, a muffled groan came from within the tent. The old general who was talking to Feng Chang'e had been struck by Yu Qianning just like that. The old general fell to the ground, but Feng Chang'e stood up. Stop! Feng Chang'e bellowed. Huh? Yu Qianning laughed sinisterly. Feng Chang'e, the enemy is right in front of us, but you're still in the enemy's camp, chatting with their general. It seems like Long Zaiqian wasn't the only traitor. Very well. Today, I, Yu Qianning, will kill you if the traitor. A gust of wind could be heard from within the tent. It was clear that Yu Qianning was about to make a move on Feng Chang'e. How could Long Yu endure this? He didn't know the old general of the ancient Meng kingdom, Man Yi, so he could hide. But if Yu Qianning was about to make a move on Feng Chang'e, he couldn't just stand by and watch. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, drunk in the Yellow Springs, imitating the Yellow Springs path. Outside the tent, Long Yu sent a punch towards Yu Qianning's tent. At that moment, a wave of netherworld energy tore a hole in the back of the tent. At the same time, a Yellow Springs path appeared and enveloped Yu Qianning. The scene stunned Feng Chang'e, who was in the tent. Feng Chang'e couldn't help but shout out. From the strange aura of the 9 underworlds, he knew that the person who came was his godson, the son of General Long Yu. However, it was not the right time for Long Yu to save him. Yu Qianning's strength had already reached the 4th rank of the true spirit realm. If she released her true spirit, Long Yu would not be able to withstand a single blow. Foster father, I'm here. Long Yu punched out with a cold glint in his eyes. He didn't slow down at all and punched the ground. A pillar of netherworld energy exploded and was about to envelop Yu Qianning, who was wearing a light yellow robe. But at that moment, Yu Qianning regained her senses. The difference in their cultivation realms allowed Yu Qianning to remain in a daze for a long time, even though she was enveloped by the Yellow Springs path. In just an instant, she had already reacted, and her figure flashed as she dodged the pillar of 9th hell chi that had erupted out. So it's you. Yu Qianning looked at Long Yu and finally recognized him. She sneered. I'd like to see what you're capable of. Both you and Feng Chang'e are like ants before me. She raised her hand, and Xin Qi gathered in her palm. A sovereign's aura descended upon the tent. This sovereign's aura, what's going on? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat when he felt the sovereign's aura from Yu Qianning. There was no time for him to think. He immediately released the heaven-suppressing sun, and a shadow of the sun true spirit appeared behind him. It emitted a heaven-suppressing domain to resist Yu Qianning's sovereign's aura. 9 Nether Dragon Fist, Reincarnation Awakening. Long Yu temporarily resisted Yu Qianning's sovereign's aura and threw a punch at Yu Qianning. This punch was imbued with the aura of endless reincarnation. In an instant, Yu Qianning was enveloped in it, causing her expression to change. What kind of power was this? Why did she feel as though her cultivation realm had dropped by a level? Such a scene was simply unheard of. Her cultivation realm was only at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. While it wouldn't be a problem for her to deal with Long Yu and Feng Chang'e, there were many generals from the ancient Meng kingdom outside the tent. Yu Qianning gritted her teeth and glared at Long Yu before she turned around and left the tent. No matter what, protecting her own life was the most important. There was no need for Yu Qianning to take the risk here. The moment she left, the pressure on Long Yu was lifted. However, he didn't let his guard down. He was now in the enemy's camp. He turned his head and saw Feng Chang'e rushing over to the old general who was sent flying by Yu Qianning to help him up. Long Yu looked at the old general who was wearing an ordinary gray robe. He didn't look like a general from the way he was dressed. However, the old general's eyes were full of vigor and vitality. One look, and one could tell that he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. At this moment, even though the old general was heavily injured from Yu Qianning's attack and didn't have long to live, his eyes were still filled with determination. Chang'e, is that girl Chu Chaoxing's daughter? Old general man, Yi's eyes flashed as he asked. That's right. Her name is Yu Qianning, the daughter of Yu Ruyin and Chu Chaoxing. Feng Chang'e replied, General Man, what do you feel now? I can't live much longer. Man, he shook his head and sighed. Chang'e, you and I are from the enemy's kingdom. And this girl, I'm afraid it'll be hard for us to leave the camp. The only way is to use me as a hostage and leave the camp before I die. How can I do that? Feng Chang'e's expression changed. Chang'e, you were once a soldier on the battlefield. Don't waste time. Old general man, he said decisively, his eyes filled with determination. This all right. Feng Chang'e thought for a moment and nodded. It was true that he and Long Yu wouldn't be able to escape if they didn't kidnap Manny. Godfather, who is this old general? At this moment, Long Yu ran over and finally interrupted the conversation, asking, General Man, he's a friend of your father, Long Zaiyan. His cultivation was at the 6th layer of the true spirit realm, but he was heavily injured on the battlefield just like me. Now, he can only display the strength of the 8th or 9th layer of the martial path. Feng Chang'e gave a simple introduction and drew out the high-ranked combat weapon, the bronze ancient sword, and placed it in front of Man Yi's neck. Even though Feng Chang'e had retired from the army for a long time, he still exuded a murderous aura at this moment. It was something that a veteran of the battlefield couldn't hide. Old General, I'm sorry. After Feng Chang'e said this, he looked as if he was really holding Man Yi hostage. His face was filled with ferocity. He held the bronze sword tightly as he dragged Man Yi towards the entrance of the tent step by step. Long Yu followed behind and couldn't help but feel moved when he saw Man Yi's figure. Godfather will tell me everything about my father after we get out of danger. Also, who are Yu Qianning, Yu Ruyin, and Chu Chaoxing? Long Yu's heart was filled with doubts, but he knew that now wasn't the time for him to ask about it. With the 9-nether dragon spear in hand, he took the lead and ran ahead of Feng Chang'e and Man Yi. I'll go first, Long Yu said firmly. Feng Chang'e could only display the strength of the 8th layer of the martial path, so it was much more dangerous for him to go first. On the other hand, Long Yu had condensed his true spirit, so he was more of a threat. Once he left the tent, Long Yu discovered that the entire Gumeng Kingdom's military camp was in a mess. Many experts had rushed out to kill Yu Qianning, while the rest wanted to save Man Yi. However, they saw Man Yi being kidnapped by Feng Chang'e. All of you back off. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep your life. Long Yu yelled, and the 9-nether dragon spear swept out. The spear's shadows dissipated, forcing back those who hadn't condensed their true spirits. At a glance, the entire camp was filled with heads. However, old General Man Yi's life was in Feng Chang'e's hands, so no one dared to act rashly. Let go of the old general, or you'll die a horrible death. Among the crowd, the shouts of the ancient Meng Kingdom's soldiers could be heard. Their voices were filled with respect for the old General Man Yi. Man, he had a lot of prestige in the ancient Meng army. It was precisely because of this that these people held back from taking action, and not a single one of them dared to act rashly. Long Yu led Feng Chang'e and Man Yi towards the camp's gate. Along the way, none of the ancient Meng Kingdom's troops dared to block their path. All of you back off. Old General Man Yi's stern shout caused the hearts of the surrounding Gumeng Kingdom soldiers to tremble. They immediately retreated even further. Long Yu and Feng Chang'e kidnapped the old General Man Yi and easily walked out of the Gumeng Kingdom's camp. No matter if it was a 2nd-layer True Spirit Realm Deputy General or a 3rd-layer True Spirit Realm General, no one dared to stop Long Yu and Feng Chang'e. Everyone, don't leave the camp. Otherwise, you old generals will die. Long Yu walked out of the Gumeng Kingdom's camp and turned around to threaten the countless soldiers of the Gumeng Kingdom. after which he brought along the old general man, Yi and Feng Chang'e, disappearing into the vast Great Snow Mountain. In the ancient Meng camp, everyone watched their old general being kidnapped, but there was nothing they could do. That's because the strongest among them, more than a dozen of them, had run out to kill Yu Qianning. Without enough confidence, they didn't dare to act. If the old general was really killed, they would be sinners. Go inform General Hung Chong and ask him to come back first. A deputy general in the crowd immediately ordered, "Capturing the old general is more important than killing the murderer." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.